maybe they see what I'm doing as like kind of both siding a predator or something. When I'm really just trying to do something that I feel like I can sleep with at night. Because coming out and just automatically being like, yeah, I'm not associating with Prime and just throwing him under the bus like everyone did yesterday, like on Twitter and on Twitch, like everyone was throwing him under the bus before Destiny. I just backed off because that felt sick to me. Felt gross.
To you, she has asked for time today on today's stream to talk about her experience. I do not make this accusation lightly. Katarana most certainly doesn't make this accusation lightly.
I'm Katarana. I've been streaming since February. I do political panels. I worked for Prime for putting panels together. I had started in May doing it more casually, just like, hey, can I help with this very specific panel? Or can I get these? I have an idea and I want to put it together. But then I started doing it within a paid capacity as of June. I quit as of yesterday. I had been trying to come forward about the whole situation for a couple of months, but since I myself don't have a very large platform, I just didn't really think that I could do it by myself. And it's only because I have friends now that like are not as small as I am that I was able to talk about it earlier. Okay.
We're going to go through some DMs. Then we're going to have a witness call in and describe the events. And then we're going to offer about what other evidence is available because it is overwhelming. So we're going to go through this slowly and try to do it responsibly.
Your testimony, like right now, comparing it to the TwitLonger, there are a lot of inconsistencies. What I'm worried about is that this TwitLonger was written under the duress and maybe support people who were trying to be supportive of you to like deliver a narrative that struck at the heart of something that like maybe you even didn't intend to strike at, but that you were doing so under the influence of other people. And that, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So as I said, like for the title, that was not the original title I would have put, and I wanted to put something a lot softer. I just was saying, I've quit. That's what I wanted it to be.
At the end of the day, I just want to make sure that the truth is known, Katarana. I just want to make sure that what we're getting is your truth, not influenced by anybody else. Okay, I just want you to like trust me.
As I said, so my original title was something that was really calm and everything, but when I was consulting, it was almost like one of those situations where, you know, when I'm in therapy, I'm like, okay, yeah, the person did this and this, but do we have to use the word assault? You know, the therapist is like, no, like, but it is assault. I'm like, yeah, but do we have to use that word? Can we just say anything else? So I was really just trying to put like out like a I quit type of thing, and the issue was others were saying, well, no one's even going to pay attention or even know about what's happening if you put out I quit, because no one cares that you quit.
As per the title, I no longer work for Prime. I've had an issue with the way that my bosses have treated me for a while, as per my general inability to process things of this nature. I usually wouldn't know how to deal with a situation like this, and for a while I felt like I just needed to suck it up. I've been involved in the Twitch politosphere for about 6 months, with one of my only points of access to the community being through the occasional hippie recruitment panel or the more frequent PrimeCaye panel. At this point, this is no longer like much of an issue for me, but when all this stuff started to happen, the only people that were letting me come on were both Mr. Geek and Prime. So yeah, from the beginning of my introduction to Prime's community, his interactions with me have essentially always been romantic or sexual in nature, but completely one-sided. On my end, it has always been an internal struggle to decide whether or not I get to keep my dignity in the situation and express my discomfort, or suck it up and grow as a streamer through him giving me a platform. I just generally always felt like if I were to talk about it, because if you see later in this, it shows that I was trying to come out in April, but then when I was thinking about it, like, okay, so he's going to find out I'm like talking about him, and then basically at this point, not very many people are going to know. He's no longer going to let me on, and then boom, I don't have anywhere else to like go on panels anymore. So definitely I feared that there would be repercussions being, there goes your streaming career. This incentive only increased when I started to produce for him and I was paid for my work. I thought that this new working relationship would mean that he would act more professionally, but it did not deter his inappropriate behavior at all. So yeah, when I would start coming up with ideas, you know, we would be on a call and I'd be like, okay, so we can get this person, this person, this person, it's gonna be great. And he would say, oh, you know, you look really pretty today. I'm like, that's great. Can we please go back to working on this panel? I just want to work on this panel. And I would very often have to like restart a conversation to be like, we're supposed to be working. And I thought you would like the work I'm doing and thus would respect like that I'm doing it and I'm trying to get bigger people to come on, but I guess that wasn't really that interesting for him. As early as April, to be precise, when I reached out to other creators in their chat. But when I did it, he found out I was posting in their chats within 10 minutes of me doing so. So I knew if I do try back then, he had so much more resources and audience than I did. So thus he could just crush my channel before I even got any word out.
I do feel a little weird getting subs for this section of the stream. So what I'm going to do is me and Kat are actually going to New York this weekend. So any subs or donos or anything we get, I'll just put towards like a spa day because we were planning on doing that anyway. Sound good? Okay, wonderful. So we're going to go through some of these DMs just to prove that she reached out to multiple people. Girly Bear, did you want NCC to cut out the portion of her stream when you were talking in chat? That would be nice. Thanks. I noticed it was gone already. Thanks, I'm just on the phone. Now I'm trying to look into what to do. Okay, just know most of the women on Twitch will be supportive of you no matter what your reason for speaking out, for emotional support, or you're just trying to warn other women, or if you're pursuing legal ends. The men will get weird and start saying things about proof is needed. I just want people to stop taking advantage of my vulnerabilities. I feel bad that you are going through this. You're fairly new to Twitch. That's awful. That this is part of your initial experience, and with your finals going on at the same time, you have to be under a lot of stress. My stream tomorrow is going to be bundled up. I don't know, honestly. I have autism, so I don't know how to decide if people are good or not. It's a major source of stress for me, so I usually need to ask someone else to vet for me, but during COVID, I can only imagine how it is being a streamer and interacting with these people, and you would think they would be coworkers, professional, you know? Yeah, I know how to be in professional settings, so I tend not to yell too much on panels. So having people slide into my DMs and telling me how they're gonna F me is really disturbing. Have you heard of Kurt? For those who don't know, Kurt used to be the producer for Prime, and Kurt interacted with certain guests inappropriately and suggested that they do certain things on stream that were quite inappropriate while booking for the man. I'll say that my situation is significantly worse than that from what I know, talking about the Kurt situation. So I know there will be repercussions for this person.
How did you think this would affect Prime when you released this? Like, what did you think would happen to Prime?
I don't know.
So I know there will be repercussions for this person. I was told to reach out to you, so I've been creeped on a lot by someone in the politisphere. Kat posts DMs. We have posted this DM uncensored as well on Twitter, which we will go through. Here's a screenshot of a piece. They do this like every day, and they know I live with my boyfriend, but they won't stop. Do you have any advice? Do you want to talk a little bit about how you brought that up to him, that you had a boyfriend at the time?
So I used to have phone calls with Prime back in February and March. And at some point he was talking about like how much he was like interested in me. And I said, hey, I have a boyfriend. And he got really upset. Like, how come you're having phone calls with me if you have a boyfriend? I'm like, well, we're just having phone calls. There's nothing special about these phone calls. Yeah, he like hung up on me, and he like then like forgave me because he's like, oh, it's okay. Like, he convinced himself that we had something special going on, and it was just like one day I was going to end up leaving my boyfriend for him, I guess.
So when did she ever break up with her boyfriend?
Kat, when did she do that? I don't know. I thought it was before she like went to go live with
It was
Dylan.
like, it was before she went on a like trip across the fucking states.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you said that she was flirting with you in DMs a long time ago, but you also told me that her having a boyfriend was somehow really important for her never flirting with another guy.
I don't have an answer for that one.
And yeah, he would just tell me every day on the phone about how much he was interested in me, and he would ask me if I like him too, and I would say, I want to go to bed. And it would just be basically every single phone call that we had would be like, I love you. Do you love me back? Look at the time.
Because he was like head over heels, like he loved this girl, right? And he would like say like, can I be your boyfriend? Could we date? Like, could we make this official, right? Because they're hanging out every day and stuff like that, and he's got huge feels. And she would say things like one of the lines that she used, I shouldn't call it a line, but one of the things that she said was that she has a really hard time, because he asked her, do you feel the same way about me? And she says, I have a really hard time. This is according to him, just when this might be hearsay. So she says, I have a hard time like understanding my emotions because of my like autism. And so it's like, I usually have to, especially with this stuff, I usually have to work through with a therapist to figure that stuff out. So I'll get back to you like what to talk to my therapist. If you hear that as a dude, like, you've got to think there's a chance.
Just checking in on you. How are you feeling? I'm not sure really, but I usually don't. Well, yeah. So what she's saying there, is that she usually doesn't know how she's feeling. Like that's what I was saying before. She didn't know how she felt about me. She's saying I don't know how I'm feeling like that at that moment. So our talks were very flirtatious at the very beginning, right? Very flirtatious. But at least, sorry, I was flirting. Maybe she was not flirting. Okay. I see some criticism of me for that, saying that maybe she was never actually flirting back with me, and that seems to be the case. You know, that's what she feels like. So that looks like that, and then I did not understand that. So that's my.
It's a large creator. It depends on what you want to do. I mean, this is all too vague for my advice. Based on what you sent me, I would just block them unless they keep making new usernames. Just keep all the receipts always. If it's someone I know of, I can dig around. A creator larger than NCC has been sexually harassing me. I'm so sorry. Is there anyone you can talk to? I'm sorry to hear you're going through that. I don't feel safe. This one is not dated. It took us a while to find this. We just got this like 30 minutes before stream, but we've been looking for this for a long time. So this isn't dated, so I will admit it isn't dated since we only got this. So you'll just generally have to take both of our words for this one. Now this one is in contact with SamanthaBanana, who's going to be on the stream in a little bit to talk about her witness testimony to Prime admitting that admitting to many of the things that Katarana has talked about, and saying, and I quote, if Katarana has our calls recorded, I'm screwed. Hey you, is everything okay? I saw some comments on my stream and I'm just making sure it's not someone in my community. Hey, I'm a bit too scared to say, to be honest. I'm not big enough to feel safe. No worries, if you're ever ready, I'll hit that eat button. So I feel like I'll just lose my platform if I talk. I understand. I'll try to get bigger, then I'll tell you. Just so you know, I will always platform your nerd personality and big brain anytime I get the chance. You are a nerd, but you're my favorite nerd. Can I just ask a question for peace of mind? Sure. I just want to ask about one name. Can I just ask a question for my peace of mind? I want to ask about one name. I can call you and tell if you're scared about it being snapped. Please, for the love of God, tell me it isn't Prime. She already had suspicions that it was Prime before you even told her?
I don't know about anything like that, but she just asked me, is it Prime? And I was like, I'll call you. And
do you remember how that call went?
I told Samantha, and Samantha was like, oh, fuck. Like, and was just trying to give me advice, but obviously, you know, like, she said that she'd support me in any way if I wanted to come forward, but I said I just didn't feel like I could right now. And especially since Prime is messaging me saying, hey, I heard that you said something in NCC's chat. Look, I'll just leave this alone for a while, but yeah, I'll keep you posted.
No, like Prime had no understanding that this was happening. And like he showed us evidence that he asked you directly, or I'm sorry, I'm not sure he did show us that evidence. I'm not sure he did. It's his testimony.
I think there was the screenshot about him, about us talking about dating and me saying, not saying, like, just being like, I can't, I'm not straight, I'm busy. Like, that's, I think I didn't put those screenshots for it because when I didn't even remember that those were there. And he was the ones that released that part. But
And especially since Prime is messaging me saying, hey, I heard that you said something in NCC's chat. Like, look, I'll just leave this alone for a while. But yeah, I'll keep you posted to let you know how I'm feeling.
Just checking in. You doing okay? Yeah, just stressing me at the end of the semester. Been trying not to think about everything too much, and it's chilled out with him knowing I'm busy. This went on for about a month, but then a month later, the weird comments haven't stopped. I'm helping out right now because the channel's growing, helps everyone. But gosh, the stuff that's being said to me is really off. Like what? Are you okay? I'm okay, but like I tell my partner everything, and they are just on edge of telling people themselves. While working on questions on Tuesday night, I was asked what's my bra size. Then I had to go to the bathroom, but I had my headphones on, and he was asking for me to come back to the chair in a way that would show my ass. Just really off shit. I'm sorry, you shouldn't have to put up with this. Wait, he asked about your broad size. Weird, champ. Yeah, because I usually wear very baggy clothes, so that time I wore a tighter shirt. I needed to bend over to pick up something that fell underneath my chair right away. So, what's your cup size? Oh, no. Just so you're aware, I've told nobody. Now on call is just to mute him till he's done being weird so he can go back to working. Oh my fucking god, you mute Prime. Oh, I thought you were talking to Eris. The panel host gets modded. Eris is someone I asked about regarding this approach. This seems to be a comfortable place for people. She's one of the only people I trust. It's all just weird stuff. I told him he should stop because I'm kind of an unpaid employee and the only reason I'm calling is to talk about work. His response was, oh, but then you can always say we're working on something to make me stop. Like, yes, dude, that's the point. Cringe. Many exclamation points to signify high levels of cringe. I haven't told anyone in the community about this, but you either, my close friends IRL know, but they don't even know what Twitch is, so that's not much of a worry. Lol, can I offer some help? This is the really important part. Listen to this carefully. Would you let me talk to Prime about it? But yeah, it makes it hard because I'm trying to get more people from different communities come on, and it's good for me to meet people, but ugh. Do you think I'd get backlash? I'm just afraid if I don't, then the comments are going to keep happening and possibly get more uncomfortable the longer this goes on. You know, me probably, but I don't mind being like demoted for doing the right thing. Because if he is doing it to you, I'm afraid he might well be doing it to others in the community as well. I did ask about that. I said, don't you think it's a bit risky for you to be talking to me this way? Like if you do this to everyone, you'll get in trouble. He was like, oh, I know who not to talk to like this. Oh, okay, great, thanks. It just makes me wonder about the women who have left the space and don't want anything to do with Prime anymore, you know. This is talking about the issue that Prime has had for a while, that there seems to be a particular issue with women no longer wanting to go on his panels, either because of the current issue or, as we have found out in private communications, others feeling maybe a little bit uncomfortable with Prime.
Katarana actually makes a few comments in like other people's streams. She mentions it a bunch of times to Samantha, and Samantha will come to me and she'll be like, oh god, I'm like so overwhelmed. I said like I just didn't understand how Prime wasn't taken seriously. It made no sense to me. But my only connection to this was through Samantha, right? And the other mods, they were all connected to Samantha. So the mods started doing something which a lot of people don't know about. So I think this is the first admittance of this information. Is the mod started investigating Prime himself. Like Prime's own mods were investigating him. Because they felt like their reputation was on the line to be associated with someone who would do that stuff. Right? So this is all going on behind the scenes months ago. They investigated him, they came to me because they were worried. Like, and I think that this is responsible. Like, they were worried they didn't want to be working for a guy that did something like this, right? But whenever they investigated people, the most that they ever got out of women was like, the most they got was, he's a little weird, or like, he want to hang out one-on-one, or like one-on-one is a big thing. You would want to hang out with people one-on-one. Or they would say, oh, like the most common one is he was rude to me on his stream. He talked over me on his stream, which, like, I mean, any Prime guest knows is true. And that was the most that they could find. I thought, going back to the situation, I thought the whole thing was handled. Particularly when I found out that Katarana had started working for Prime. I thought, wow, she's working for Prime. Like, I was like, what's the deal there? That's so weird, right? Because she's made these allegations. Why is she working for the guy? Like, she could go work for, like, she seemed already pretty well connected and had a good reputation. She was growing pretty fast. Like, I felt like she could work for a bunch of people. I didn't know why she picked Prime. But I figured they had a good dynamic. They'd solved things. They'd worked it out between them. And that was that. But we always thought it was weird that she was working for Prime, right? After this, because this is and this is something that a lot of people have misunderstood. Like, she starts working for Prime way after the bad stuff happens, right? Like, where like they have those awkward conversations and stuff. And that's something that, I don't know, a lot of people, that's why I think, while Dylan was technically right in calling her staff, I feel like it was a little disingenuous. This is what happens the other night. Not last night, the night before. This is all Is this Eastern time? Yeah, it's Eastern time. So, 10:57, Dooby gets a message. Twooby is Dooby, okay? Who's a really good friend of mine. So Dooby gets a message from Prime saying, I've got a big fucking problem. You can't see shit. I'll make it, is this okay? Prime says, I've got a big fucking problem. Dooby says, what's up? Because Dooby's really good at fixing problems. I told you guys that's why I'm close with him. He fixed a very big problem for me once. So, Prime says, someone is accusing me of abuse. And of course, we all know, the minute we hear that, we're like, we know who it is. Because we've known about this situation for so long. And so Dooby goes, Katarana? And Prime's like, wait, how did you know? And that's when Dooby is like, and I was in voice call with Dooby at the time. And I was like, wait, why is Prime acting surprised? Why is Prime acting surprised? If everyone knew about, we were doing things. It was just everyone was doing things behind the scenes. You know, no one wants to make shit public because when you make it public, it gets messy, as we saw in the last 2 days. But yeah, you could see him panicking, right? I hope Prime doesn't get mad at me for sharing these DMs. Okay. But anyway, so, I'm going to talk about the views thing. I have a lot to say about that, even though I'm a total hypocrite right now, but yeah. So Prime's like shocked. He's just totally shocked. He's like, how would you know it was Katarana? Because to him, it's like, and that's when Dooby starts to like, I think it's when it clicks that. So it's like, why is Prime acting shocked? Right? Like, we expected a Prime be like, fuck, I was worried about this before. But Katarana's like, you know, she's going for it or something like, I don't know. Like, we thought it would be something like that, but him being so shocked, we were like, dude, are you this dense? She's been making these allegations for so long. And most of your mods believe them. In fact, tons of your mods have left you because of it. Some of his closest friends had like ditched Prime, had left the mod team, right? Because they believed the allegations. And they were upset that Prime was not taking them seriously. And so we were like, it's like one of those situations where you're sure someone's like in on what's going on, and then you finally figure out that he's not in at all. Why didn't any streamers talk to Prime about this? Well, it's not really, everyone thought that he had been spoken to. It was like a classic bystander situation where I thought Samantha had spoken to him. His mods thought Samantha had spoken to him. Everyone thought Samantha had spoken to him. And then this dynamic starts, and then it starts getting spread around the group that he's not taking it seriously, and that just becomes the new truth, right? So, of course, Prime's response, like, imagine you find something out is happening, and you're kind of shocked by it, right? And Prime's response, he's like, wait, how does everyone know about this but me? And it's involving me, right? Like, he's so confused. Especially, he must feel really betrayed because, like, all of his friends, all of his social circle, his mod team, no one's been talking to him. Everyone would just talk about it behind his back. That's just the truth. And everyone just assumed that he had been spoken to about it. Samantha thought she was being clear with Prime, and Prime did not get it. Because I have the message.
So this is in March. And I continued flirting for a bit afterwards, right? You saw that in the other DMs. Like, I was hoping that maybe things would change. Things did not change, and in fact, I had the complete wrong idea. Okay? That's just how I felt. I felt about the situation. Okay. Alright, so now this part's important. This part's very important. Okay. So there's an implication that there's an implication that I knew about this. Knew about all of this. Yeah. There's an implication that I knew about all this, that like that I was told by my very much former moderator, SamanthaBanana, that she was apparently saying this on stream today with others, but I did not know that I was making Katarana uncomfortable. Right? So there was one indication. This happened in April. I'm going to show you all of that so you get a firm understanding of what happened. Okay. All right. So we're going to go into our DMs with SamanthaBanana. There are different DMs. Okay. So the first time that I understood that there might be a problem, first time was when there's some sort of problem anyway. Was when Katarana apparently typed something in no comment chicks chat, which someone else screen grabbed. It was not me, but someone else screen grabbed it, right? This is of my former moderator, SamanthaBanana. Okay. So it starts off with this, right? So I want to give you the full context. This is how she talks. This is about the so she says wolf mad. She's talking about the Destiny Wolf debate that happened. Destiny did a good job there. So she says wolf mad, pussy ass little dude. This is SamanthaBanana. And I'm like, what? And she was like, I was making a Richard Wolf joke. And then SamanthaBanana says, hey, FYI, I just received these. Okay, moving forward. This is what she sent me. This is Katarana and no comments chicks chat. By the way, excuse me, there's a major predator in the Twitch politics community, and I know NCC usually talks about this. How do you suggest I go about this? And then she goes on to say, a creator larger than NCC has been sexually harassing me. There are two people who give their support. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry to hear this. And then she says, oh, I'm sorry to hear that you're going through that. And someone says, is there anyone you can talk? Is there anyone you can talk to? And she says in response to this one, I don't feel safe to. So this is what Samantha sends to me. I say thanks. I'll reach out. Was this an I reach chat? She says yes. So when she says it's a bigger streamer, I don't know who that is. My friend SamanthaBanana does not tell me. Who is she referring to? Katarana does not say. she's referring to. Right? She says it's a bigger streamer than a common chick, but you know, a lot of streamers that are at varying sizes. I don't know who she's talking to. So I say I'm going to reach out. This sounds like a problem. So I reach out to her, and I'll show you what happens afterwards, so you know that there's nothing else that comes. So she says yes there, and then I say yes, good to know, and then a few days later. So this is April 29th. A few days later, the next thing we're talking about is a graphics card. Next thing we're talking about is a graphics card. So SamanthaBanana does not tell me that this was me, right? I reach out to Katarana and have a discussion with her about this. I say to her that, is someone bothering you? Like, you've said this in chat. And she was reluctant to say anything. I'm like, if you could tell me who it is, like, well, first of all, I don't want to associate with them. I don't want to associate with them. So if I can help in any way, let me know. And she says, she was like, that's fine. She'll handle it. She didn't want it to blow up to be a big thing. And I say, okay. And I believe I add, this is a voice call. This is happening in voice calls. I believe I add, if I ever make you feel uncomfortable, if I ever made you feel uncomfortable, let me know. Right? And she says, no, it's fine. My understanding. Right? Okay. So, I want to assure you that SamanthaBanana did not tell me that I was the problem. So you're thinking, well, maybe we had a private call. Maybe that's where it happened. Okay, well, if you look here, we had 2 private calls, as far as I can tell, within our Discord DMs. This is her, SamanthaBanana, kindly assisting me with that graphics card we were talking about. This is her. You want to do a settings check? Yes, please. Get the video card up. Oh, cool. I'll take 10 minutes or so to get back online, ready when you are. And then we have a call, and that's what we're talking about. And the next thing is a team viewer thing. She's helping me with that. The next thing, the other call that we have, SamanthaBanana, I'm heading to private. This is recently. This is just in August, so this is just a few days ago. She says, if you want to 1v1 Lauren, she's talking about Lauren Southern, who she works for. There's time for it tonight. She's wanting a few lefties, just offering, no push. On her stream, yep. That's the times that we talked with each other. And no time did she say to me that that Katarana was feeling uncomfortable, and that there's a problem that I should handle. But now you're saying, okay, well, what if Prime is hiding this, right? There's a lot of DMs, or if it's somewhere else. Got you there too. Let's look at the search. So I searched Kat, right? Katarana. And I looked for like all the instances. This is in our DMs with SamanthaBanana, as you can see here. I look at Kat. This is Kat again relating to me that she is quitting. So this is me. I copied that message and pasted it to Samantha. So this is just yesterday of me finding this out. So this is the first thing that comes up when you search Kat in our chat. This is the second thing. It says Kat at the bottom. I hope you guys can see this. Okay. Oh fuck, you can't. Hold on. One second. One second. Let me remove the stream title. For a moment. There we go. So you can see the whole thing. And then this Kat quit on me, but not before saying that I abused her. Then she unfriended me and blocked me on Discord. So that's the first 2 instances, and then we scroll, and it continues. Again, this is her real name that I use, so I'm blocking that. I'm not trying to dox this woman. In any case, so she says, Samantha says, Kat, this is all you can see. All of it is by today. It means yesterday. Something is going on with Kat, and I think it's going to be a huge fucking problem. This is me. I'm like in defense mode at this point. Samantha, Kat disappeared on me again, and then the next time is in July. You can see here. Samantha, Cat disappeared on me again. Need to fill out the reverie. If you're available to help, let me know. And then the first time Cat comes in this conversation is SamanthaBanana saying, okay, I got her to turn around. I am coaching Cat a bit because y'all are losing a 2v1 technically because he only has rhetoric which he is not prepared for. So we need to dismantle his sources because we don't have the ability to fight his rhetoric. This is that flat earther debate that she's referring to now. This is helping Katarana during this time.
Boom, she's talking about Prime. But Prime's so he's so in love with Katarana, you know, and he's so blinded by his affection, right? That like when he reads the message, because it doesn't mention his name, he thinks, oh my God, she's being, you know, predated on by another streamer. I gotta be a good friend to her. Like, he thinks he's having a Dylan moment where he's like, I gotta go save her, right? He's not thinking it's him. There's like a dynamic where Prime thinks that because they're having so many phone calls, that they're doing regular wake-up calls, they're intimate, they know each other's, they're definitely in some kind of relationship, whether it's like at least a platonic relationship, right? I know relationship is a weird word to use, but it's like they've got a dynamic of talking every day, all day. You know, like they wake each other up, you put each other to sleep. And for a lot of people, that's always going to mean something romantic.
To be honest though, I think it'd be helpful to speak to him. I've always had a hard time dealing with this, and I thought I was doing better, but clearly I'm not being direct enough. Do you want me to? I'm pretty direct and thick-skinned. I'm always worried about it hurting others. I'd say if you're comfortable, do it. I don't want to hurt any aspect of your life though. I'll be fine, I promise. Well then, thank you. Your help means a lot to me. Do you want to talk about if he stopped his behavior after Samantha? Because that indicates that Samantha went and had a conversation with Prime, then telling him, hey, stop being creepy. And from what you've told me and others, but Samantha admits she didn't tell Prime to stop in the thing. Let me look. I owe a massive apology to Prime for all misrepresentation on my behalf. I'm always, holy shit, really? So she fucked me. No, she didn't only fuck me, she'd fuck me and... Let me read it first. I owe a massive apology to Prime for all the misrepresentation on my behalf. I'm always going to listen to those who feel victimized. However, that does not excuse not being direct and thorough when approaching these sensitive topics. I took everything Kat said and never asked for proof. I don't think that's the issue. I also never went to Prime directly and asked for anything to clear this flat. But you told me you did! In the end, it left me only with Kat's side, which made it seem to me that things were worse than they should improve of. Didn't help by not being directed with Prime the first time I brought this up. I know she didn't want me to be direct, but is that right? However, it's Prime's right to know if he is being accused of anything. So this side could be here. Well, this isn't about Destiny, but listening to him is what motivated me to write this. It's not about Dylan, it's about me. This was about Kat and Prime. I had the opportunity to clear this shit up, and the second it was brought up to me, and I failed Prime. I don't expect forgiveness and don't need it. I need to make it clear that this was a massive information clusterfuck, and I was made part of it. It would be the first to eat the humble pie. Let me say something quick. In the call the day before, I asked her like 3 times if she told Prime. And I said directly too. I remember one of the times I asked if it was direct. So, holy fuck. This was about Kat and Prime. I had the opportunity to clear this shit up, and the second was brought up to me, and I failed Prime. I don't expect forgiveness, and I don't need it. I need to make it clear that this was a massive information clusterfuck. I will be the first to eat the humble pie, and it's not a small piece either. I don't want this to happen to anybody, so avoid me making this fuck up again. I am quitting production for anyone's panels. This wasn't for personal gain or for Dylan or for consolidating power to a streamer, so to prove that I am walking the fuck away. I also just want to be supportive of Kat, but I left Prime in the dust, and that was both wrong and shitty opinions by my part. You do this stuff for a living. You should know how to fact check this saying relying on X was a fuck up. This is just more fuck up as anyone else involved. Be fair. I did say I fucked up. I never said I didn't fuck up. I mean, I would say the majority of the blame lays on the liar than the person who was lied to. But yeah, I still fucked up by believing a lie. I didn't ever think to ask for a call log because when I'm told, hey, Katarana told Samantha to talk to Prime, and then I look at the DM and there's evidence that Katarana told Samantha to talk to Prime, and then Samantha is a manager for Prime, and then I ask Samantha and she says yes multiple times. I was like, okay, Then she talked to Prime. And it was really like a small detail. I didn't even think about it that much while we putting this together. Because it was more of like tangential information, I guess, for me, getting her to
For anybody who didn't hear that, we'll go back over it because that's a big deal.
Moving on. She says in
Wait, I'm lagging. No.
Sondsol stream that she repeatedly asked Samantha what Prime said after Samantha asked him about the discomfort, right? After Samantha told him that he was making Katarana uncomfortable. And that Samantha didn't tell her. That Samantha, she would ask Samantha for months and Samantha didn't tell her.
So the claim is Katarana, this feels a little bit convoluted. Maybe I could do a better job at saying this. Actually, I don't know if I can. So Katarana asked Samantha if, like, for months, this is Katarana's claim. Katarana claims that she asked Samantha for months about the status of the back and forth that Samantha had with Prime in regards to the sexual harassment claim. Essentially, hey, just trying to get an update. What's going on? What happened? What did Prime say about the when you accused him or when you came forward to him and asked him about it? Right? That is the claim that Katarana says, that she was asking Samantha for months about this claim.
What Prime said. Samantha showed me her DMs with Katarana, and Eris, I can show you them right now if you want to see them. She didn't ask Samantha what Prime said until August 17th, the day that the tweet longer was released, and the day they had this giant fucking stream. So she wasn't asking Samantha for months and being ignored. That's bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I can show anybody those DMs if wants to see them.
It's huge. It's a really big deal. So for anybody that might have missed that as well, what he's saying is it's just not true. That that Katarana never asked about whether or not the at least this is what is being claimed, that Katarana never asked whether or not about the status of the talk that Samantha and Prime had until they planned on the day dropping the logs. Meaning that the person that Katarana went to be able to establish that Prime knew what he was doing was like wrong, like to confront Prime, the person that she went to be able to do that, she never checked up with them to figure out how that went down until it came time to put it in the tweet longer, which is very interesting.
Samantha went and had a conversation with Prime, then telling him, hey, stop being creepy. And from what you've told me and others, that Prime was like, oh, okay, I guess I'll stop. How did that go?
Nothing stopped. I mean, the only thing that anyone could say is, oh, like, we didn't have issues as often. It was like because I wasn't calling him anymore, and he would even mention like, oh, like we don't talk anymore. And in my head, it's like, yeah, because I don't want anybody to tell me like about like what's my cup size every phone call. So in general, I could say that the types of conversations slowed down, but not due to any part of his own volition as much as I just wasn't going to have phone calls anymore. But any phone call that I did have, it still always had the same undertone to it, and honestly nothing really changed. Even like one of the last calls I had before I came down to Maryland was me just having a conversation about payment, and he was just like, I just want to let you know like that you're like really gorgeous and stuff. And I'm like, okay, but like PayPal, what are we doing? Like how much am I getting paid? Yeah, but you look really beautiful today. Okay, Prime, my friend's visiting me because I'm about to like move. Can we please hurry this up? Yeah, but like I just wanted to. Okay, I have to go. It was just stuff like that.
I can also say that once I was with Kat while she was here, and she had a call with Prime, and for the vast majority of the call it was just business stuff. And I guess since it was just business conversations, she didn't even think to tell me, which. And then I heard towards the end of that very inappropriate comments, like, I just want to tell you how beautiful and gorgeous and amazing you are and how this and this and that. And it was very strange because I could see how uncomfortable Katarana was. So I think she's being 100% honest with me because I've seen this firsthand.
I think flirting is an old, traditional, fancy, complex way of saying, okay, feeling out consent. I know that sounds totally crazy. So I messaged Momo, and I'm like, Momo, like, your name's so cute. You know, people with any gender is named Momo, who are named Momo, like, I've always had a fantasy, like, of, you know, going, you know, of a guy named Momo. Is that kind of weird? Like, what am I doing when I flirt? Like, I know that's like an amazing line, guys. Don't steal that, okay? Like, what is that? That's like feeling out consent. And Momo's gonna respond with like, wow, what a coincidence. Like, you know, I've always had a dream of being with like a 2D, you know, narcissistic streamer. And voila, we've got consent. Sexting. I think sexting is all about feeling out consent, understanding boundaries. I would like to engage in a romantic date with you. Please, like, okay, would you feel comfortable taking off your clothes for me? Like, it doesn't need to be like that, okay? But yeah, that's really what, so when flirting's done right, it is like getting consent. And I think what Prime was doing was flirting badly. It's just saying something like, I love your boobs, or like, you've got a dump truck on you. I think that was the word he used. Like, it's not the best flirting tactics, okay? And I understand why she was like, bro. But I wouldn't call it harassment. I just call that like going a little far. That's my opinion. But again, what is considered harassment is so contextual. So, I definitely think like if you're telling like a panelist that you don't know well, like you've got a dump truck on you, like that's textbook harassment. But because they had an intimate dynamic, I think it's just going a little far. Like you know, it's going too far.
Do you think that the call you heard, messages you showed, are enough to try to destroy Prime's reputation? I think it's enough to say that he acted inappropriately, but I don't think it's enough to destroy his reputation. If you mean by like, it is enough to say that he doesn't exactly know how to enact appropriately with women. And what he did was definitely over the line. Definitely what I saw. But destroy reputation, I mean, it depends on what you mean by destroy reputation. If people knowing that is destroy reputation, then no. If you mean by lose his job, do everything, fucking fall out, then the answer, with the Samantha stuff, then the answer obviously is no. No, I don't think it was. I would say I jumped the gun. I still know what I saw. I still know what I saw and heard. But I did jump the gun when it comes to stuff like the Samantha shit. That was completely jumping the gun, and it should have been handled in privately. Over the course of the months, Prime has said just absolutely wild things to me. Unfortunately for me, and fortunate for him, much of it was over Discord calls. He would comment about my breast size and how much he liked my ass. Do you want to talk about that experience?
Yeah, so there was the cup size thing where I would, the one I mentioned with Samantha, but then in general, as I had stated with Samantha, I wear baggy clothes most of the time. So another time when I had a phone call with him and it was a day that I wasn't streaming, I was wearing shorts or whatever, and I went over in my living room, which is in my setup in Montreal, and I bent over to grab something, and he was like, oh, I didn't know like you were rocking that. Like, oh my God, now I understand why you like wear baggy pants. Holy shit. Like I think he actually used the word dump truck, I'm pretty sure.
And he asked me to show it off to him. I've been told over and over again how gorgeous I am without reciprocating any of the same language. I was once so desperate to get away from his comments that I swallowed an oral anesthetic and a phone call to hang up with him. This testimony really like shocked me. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I had to take an oral anesthetic to get out of a phone call. If you were in a call with somebody and you desperately needed to get off the call, why would you fake taking a drug when you could just pretend fake take a drug? What? Like, I could just come and be like, my mouth is getting dry because I have an anesthetic. Sorry, good night. Like, why would you actually take a drug when you could just fake take a drug? Like, it's like such a bizarrely weird thing. Yeah, I don't know. It's such a bizarrely weird thing to say that, yeah. So those two things from Katarana's angle, in my eyes, kind of destroyed a lot of her credibility. Because if you're going to tell lies, I'm fully convinced these are lies. I'm sorry. But when you're going to tell lies around like these particular things, then it really makes me wonder why you need to lie about them. And then it makes me wonder what other parts of your story are maybe not as credible.
Yeah, it was a phone call, but she was asking me to tell him like what were my feelings about him and if I loved him back. And I was like, and yeah, I was just really generally uncomfortable. So I was like, if you keep on doing this, I'm just gonna swallow oral anesthesia so that we can stop having this conversation. And he didn't. So I actually have the oral anesthesia with me because I have to use it because I have a mouth issue sometimes. And yeah, so I just got the oral anesthetic, put it all over my tongue, and I was like, can't talk anymore. And it was even in the chat. I think if you see one of the screenshots I think you posted on Twitter, I was just posting the same emote over and over again, and I was like, I can't feel my mouth anymore. It was like that same conversation where it's like, I just want to kiss you so much, and I just kept on spamming the emote. Like, yeah, and that was the call that I had the oral anesthetic in.
He's proclaimed that he will move to Europe for me, as I had planned at the time to go to the Netherlands. Do you want to talk about that?
Punish myself. So what I say is, you are only allowed to have conversations with people that it's somewhat pertinent to work, because any types of other conversations with people is not productive, and thus you don't deserve to do that. So I haven't spoken to a lot.
That's not true. She's not being honest here. I actually know she's not. She was socializing with other people during that period. I know that because I saw Prime's DMs. Remember I told you guys that Prime streamed his entire DMs with me? He couldn't stream them publicly, right? Because there's personal information there. Yeah, this is totally new info. But yeah, she socialized with her friends. It's such a weird thing to lie about. Like, she didn't need to bring that up.
Well, you didn't finish your work, so you don't get to talk to your real friend.
Okay, I will send them.
One of the only people that I was talking to during that period of time would be Prime, because we would work on panels or talk about. I do just want to say that for the last 6 months or so, I've been really having a lot of mental health issues. So one of my methods of dealing with depression is to punish myself. So what I say is, you are only allowed to have conversations with people that it's somewhat pertinent to work, because any types of other conversations with people is not.
Okay, so you could charitably interpret it not as that she's saying that she can only work. She can't do anything that's fun.
Productive, and thus you don't deserve to do that. So
But they weren't working. They worked a little, but I know the content of what they talked about. It was lots of personal stuff, like a lot of her ranting about her situation, parents, family, details that I don't even feel comfortable, I shouldn't even know about. And him talking about his personal stuff. They gave each other personal information. And it's not necessarily romantic. I'm not saying they had a romantic dynamic. Obviously from Prime it was romantic, but the dynamic was intimate. You can have an intimate dynamic in a non-romantic situation too, but it was intimate. It's they're very close. Talk every day close, wake up together close, go to sleep close. Okay, anything big happen, you hang out right after.
I haven't spoken to a bunch of my IRL friends for 6 months, because I'm well, you didn't finish your work, so you don't get to talk to your real friend. So
I do not believe for 1 second he was not her real friend. I can believe that he wasn't her boyfriend or anything, yeah, because I totally believe that she wasn't into him romantically, fine. But not that they weren't friends at all. The only way that they wouldn't be friends is if she's being super fake with him the whole time. I mean, that's possible. Some people do that.
One of the only people that I was talking to during that period of time would be Prime, because we would work on panels or talk about the topics for the next questions, because even if he wasn't paying me before, I was still helping him with putting together panels before I was getting paid to do it.
Most of the time, I'm telling you, 90% of the time they were close when they were having all those regular convos, the really long ones. She was not working for him.
So around that time, in March, I started going to.
The people who were working for him, I think it was Spectre, Samantha. I think that's
family therapy, but I didn't have any of my.
Also, interesting fact, they were being paid much less than her. I don't think a lot of people know that. And when I say less, I mean less than half.
After family therapy, I would usually call Prime and like cry for 2 hours because I
Okay,
feel like
this has to stop.
Yep.
This has to stop.
Yeah.
If we ever date, you'll know I'm unhappy when I ask you to socialize with friends. Well, it's cute that you think I date and this is again the beginning of our this is in March if you look at the timestamps. Well, it's cute that you think I date / do long distance. But I'm a big time streamer. I could maybe make my way to the Netherlands one day. She was planning on moving to Europe, like I said previously, right? And I was like, you know, for streaming, you can do that anywhere. So I was like, yeah, maybe I could stop by around your place, the Netherlands.
He's proclaimed that he will move to Europe for me, as I had planned at the time to go to the Netherlands. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so I was supposed to be moving either to Luxembourg or the Netherlands before I got a bit too depressed to do anything. And I was like letting him know about all the interviews and stuff, and he was like, yeah, well, you know, like I'm a partner, and you know, I can take this thing portable, so like, yeah, you know, I would move to like Netherlands for you, like we could move there and like have our life together. And I was like, what?
I started going to family therapy, but I didn't have any of my like IRL friends to talk to. So after family therapy, I would usually call Prime and like cry for 2 hours because I'd be like,
this has to stop.
Yep.
This has to stop.
Yeah.
Yep.
So something's really bothered me from the start of this. And I've told people I feel like she's misrepresenting their relationship. And if they're having calls where she's crying for hours on end, that is not a totally professional relationship. I'm sorry. Like that is not.
No, I
something
think
to
it's
do.
always been that they've been friends though. I think that I don't
No.
think that's like
No, she said their relationship was totally professional from the start, and that they were talking about stream shit, and the calls took long because he would divert from stream shit to hitting on her.
Especially that Prime isn't like facing any sort of like major blowback.
No, but
I think
he
that's
is
a good
still.
point.
There are
Is
tons
he?
of people that are still attacking him over this and slandering the fuck out of him. This is. I'm sorry.
I don't
this
know
is
if any
not-
more talk can do anything about it.
He told me he wants to sleep with me, even though I was not ever reciprocating any of his flirting or inappropriate comments. How did he tell you he wanted to sleep with you? Was it like at all vague at all?
No, it wasn't vague. But in general, I can't give too much of the context because I think I've just blocked out that conversation a lot, but it wasn't vague. But I can't remember what this particular incident is on that one. Sorry.
I remember you telling me that it was very point blank. You don't remember any of exactly how he said he wanted to do that?
I don't.
If you don't, it's okay. It's okay. No worries whatsoever. He even once told me that I have enough information to end his career, and when I asked, why do you keep doing and saying things that could get you in trouble, he responded with, I know what girls would and wouldn't talk. I guess I just look like one of the girls that would never talk. He responded with, I know what girls would and wouldn't talk. I guess I just look like one of the girls that would never talk.
When you said in the tweet longer that Prime mentioning he knows which girls would or wouldn't talk, that it wasn't your intention to make it out like he was doing something that he didn't think or that he thought he should not be doing. Did I understand that clearly a second ago?
yeah. So the way I kind of saw it was because there's a bunch of women that don't go on Amazon Lily anymore, and he would tell me explicitly, do not invite these people. And I said, like, okay, it seems like you have a lot of people that like don't really come on these panels. And you know, it seems like a lot of people are constantly making streams about like things that you've done wrong. So why do you feel so comfortable like saying things that you are telling me will end your career? And like, how about those other girls that like have left? Like, why didn't you like ever say anything like this to them? And he was just like, yeah, like I know what kind of girls like would, you know, generally, you know, make streams about these types of things and just talk about it a lot. Even if I tried to flirt with them once, they would be an issue. And then I know what kind of girls are just going to be a bit more, I guess, quiet or.
Okay. The problem with this, Katarana, is that this stuff is not what's in the twit longer. What's in the twit longer is he even once told me that I have enough information, that when I told him that I had enough information to end his career, and when I asked, why, hold on, I'm sorry, I gotta quote this. Why do you keep doing and saying things that could get you in trouble? He responded with, I know what girls would and wouldn't talk. I guess I just look like one of the girls that would never talk.
Put at the end of the twit longer that like he did say that like he knows which girls like would or not say anything, but I didn't really interpret it like that as being like super malicious as much as it's like, oh, I know like
what they're talking about here is in the twit longer, towards the end of it, is very well written in my opinion. Had a really good snipe at the end. Is she says that Prime told her, and I quote, I know like which girls would and wouldn't talk. And of course she kind of ends it by saying like, and of course there's an end implication, well she ended up talking, right? We all know the big implication of what that means. The thing is that when I read that, I was immediately like, whoa, I've heard Prime say that. Prime said that to me once. I've heard Prime say that twice. So I knew he probably said that. I knew that wasn't a lie, because it's like those are Prime's type of words. And it sounds really, really bad. But I knew that in the context of the way Prime had said those words, I know what girls would and wouldn't talk. He's talking about trust and how much people backstab one another, particularly romantic partners in this world.
Because in the twit longer and then in the post, I think yesterday, that you like put on Twitter from Discord, you really hit on the this thing about, you know, he told you that he knew which girls he could do this with or something. And it seems like when you said that, it was like implying that, like, to me, that the way that you frame that there is like implying that he's like seeking out victims or something, and he knows which girls he can victimize. But when he said that to me, and the way that you explained it earlier when Supreme asked you, it seems a lot more like, you know, he does this with people that he thinks he can trust, that won't go and tell people that he's hitting on them right away.
yeah.
By the way,
So-
I'm here if you need me.
Oh, I saw you came in. Thank you, Sonia. That's actually really helpful. Thank you. For man, I just got blanked. 1 second. Yeah. So I don't think that Prime has like a list of like 10 really socially awkward girls that like will not say anything ever, and that like he's basically like Pokemoning and just being like, which one of you neurodivergent girls will like not say anything today. So I don't think that like there's any type of serial issue going on, but I do think that it was a kind of weird for him to say to me that like the way that he said it really seemed like he knew how uncomfortable I would ever be with speaking about this publicly, or even telling an extra person. And honestly, me even telling Samantha was really, really hard. I was like, can we not, like, I'd rather not say anything. And it wasn't until Samantha said, oh, is it Prime? I was like, okay, yes. But I'll do this on call. So I think he just generally knew that that I would be quite uncomfortable ever saying anything, and thus maybe he felt.
Do you think that it was like that you'd be uncomfortable saying anything, or that he thought he could trust you not to go around and spread his dirty laundry or your dirty laundry if you two were like ever started flirting or anything like that?
I didn't really see it as much of a trust thing. I mean, I do believe that he did or does, or I don't know what he is feeling towards me right now, but I do believe that he trusted me because I have more information on him than most people, and that's why when I was doing everything, I didn't even put any of the personal information, because my intention was not to be like, and I have all these receipts of things put before like about his real life and stuff like that. So I do believe that he trusted me, but I didn't really get a because I trust you vibe.
Okay, so I just want to be perfectly clear about this. What it says in the twit longer is he even once told me that I have enough information to end his career. And when I asked, why do you keep saying and doing things that could get you in trouble? He responded with, I know what girls would and wouldn't talk. This is framing this as a conversation that went to you coming to him and saying, hey, I have all this information that can compromise you.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Why do you keep doing this? And then he responded to that with, I know which girls would and wouldn't talk. Is this how the conversation went?
No. He told me directly that like you have enough information. So we were on a call, and he was saying like if if anybody ever heard these calls, or just in general, you have like, sorry, let me back up. He told me that you have enough information to end my career. So I directly responded with, if that's true, then why are you doing this? So it was.
So at one point you did directly confront him and say, why are you making these inappropriate comments towards me? If you know that I have all this information.
Yeah, so if you know that there is that I have enough information to end your career, then why would you even say things to somebody that you know could end your career?
Wait, so what was it? The sexual comments, or was it the information? Like, yeah, I think you have like his name, his address, all that sort of stuff.
No, it had nothing to do with doxing at all. No, it wasn't anything like that.
Sure.
Because doxing doesn't end your career as much as it's just doxing. So
I just want to be really clear here. It seems like the framing, as you've written, is why do you keep you asked him, why do you keep doing and saying things that could get you in trouble? And he just responds with, I know which girls would and wouldn't talk. So his answer to that, his reasoning for why he keeps saying things that get him in trouble, is that he knows which girls would and wouldn't talk.
Yes.
Meaning that, and then after that it says, I guess I just look like one of the girls that would never talk.
Yes.
Okay. So it does feel like you're trying to create a narrative where, like, you're asking us to believe that PrimeCaye is doing something malicious because he doesn't fear retribution, because he's like a serial offender that is built up over like a long period and many victims, like some tradecraft that enables him to identify.
He never told me anything about there being other people, and I have no reason to believe, unless somebody said something, that there were other people. Never went and like started asking other girls, did anything happen? I have no additional information to say that there's any.
So he never said there were any other girls. So in this moment, when he said, I know what girls would and wouldn't talk, he was responding to you and answering why he trusted that you wouldn't use his words to get him in trouble. So the problem is that this is a really, really serious allegation, right?
But it's something that was a phone call that we had. So it wasn't like I was I'm not thinking of, 5 other days of conversations where one time he said, you have enough information. And then a couple days later I said, wait, why do you keep on doing this? It was all in the same call. I remember I was in my bedroom folding up my clothes that day. So we weren't on camera. I just had I just had my speaker on. I remember this conversation. And yes, he said, you have enough things. And that was my response. And that was his response. And my response was, that seems kind of risky.
But this is a serious allegation, because the framing of this, you're asking us to believe that he now has some intent, some knowledge and some intent that he's doing and saying things that he deserves to get in trouble for, and that he's like doing it to you because he just believes that you won't say anything about it.
I do believe he was generally a lot more, I wouldn't say pushy, but he was saying a lot more things to me than I guess he would ever say to a lot of other people, because he just generally did not expect I would say anything. Yeah.
So how did you think this would affect Prime when you released this? Like, what did you think would happen to Prime?
I don't know.
Okay. But sorry, the case that I'm trying to make here is that you're making a very serious allegation that this is like part of intent for him, that he has knowledge that what he's doing is something he should not be doing, and that he just thinks you're somebody that's not going to like rat him out or something.
I was meaning to, if there are different, I know a lot of people have different interpretation of what he said. I was just relaying exactly what was the phone call that we had. So it wasn't like I didn't follow it up.
He even once told me. What does the even mean there?
I guess perhaps there's more of a focus on like little minute details in language that I did not think of when I was writing it. I was just meaning for that part to be the last thing I put.
Okay, but it looks like it's contributing because it's at the list of a long. It's at the end of a list. He told me he wants to sleep with me, even though I was not reciprocating any of his flirting or inappropriate comments. He even once told me that I have enough information to end his career. And when I asked, why do you keep doing and saying things that could get you in trouble, he's responded with, I know what girls would and wouldn't talk. I guess I just look like one of the girls that wouldn't talk.
So,
okay, so first question.
Okay, I was just gonna say I do wish that I could do Control Z to see what did I originally write, because there were some parts of what I wrote that were like slightly edited. So maybe it is that I didn't even put the words even originally and that was added in. I can't recall, because if I could go back and see what did I originally put before like it was edited for me, then I would be able to say like, okay, did I
Did you say that it was the software that edited it?
No. I like as I said, I didn't put into screenshots, I didn't put into title, and then just generally it was looked over to like see if I was being like super redundant or if I was doing run-on sentences. So yeah, but it wasn't software.
Okay.
But you did all the editing yourself, right?
And you released it.
So
yes, I released it.
Now,
so you proofread it.
I was told look it over to see if it's okay, and I was like, okay, that looks okay.
Do you want to talk about this experience?
I mean, honestly, I think, I don't know if there's just something about me, but like right now, I guess people could tell I'm generally like not super comfortable. Like I'm kind of like tugging at my shirt a lot and stuff. And like, I take such a long time to comfort with all these types of things. Even like within university, it took me 2 years to finally get a restraining order on some of my classmates that were bothering me. So like, honestly, it almost felt like somebody was saying exactly what I kind of already knew about myself, was that I guess I just have a face that looks like you can do whatever you want and I'm not going to say anything, which is really hurtful, because especially since I'm always dealing with different cases with people sexually harassing me, someone telling me straight to my face, well, I know you're not going to say shit. It's like, oh, great. So the reason why I'm experiencing stuff is not because I'm isolated or anything. It's because I literally look like it. Well, I know you're not going to say shit. It's, yeah, it wasn't very nice to hear that. I mean, not that it would have been any better really to just say like, oh, I don't know, I'm just a bit of an idiot, ha ha ha. Like, or I just think you're pretty and I think it's worth doing it. It's literally like, well, what are you going to do?
I want to make it perfectly clear that this line about him knowing which girls would and wouldn't talk, was that or was that not something that you intended to be a point in the favor that Prime was doing something malicious?
I have kind of come to the conclusion that Prime is both oblivious and...
I'm asking about that one line.
No. Yeah, I know. I think oblivious in general, but knows in general that like he can't just do this with every person. Yeah, so I see it as being like knowing that I particularly would not say anything for a really long time, and honestly most likely ever. And I do see it as being a
malicious, sure.
Yeah.
But he had some malintent. And listen, I understand that at this point you reasonably believe that SamanthaBanana
Sondsol apparently
told him directly. So at the time that you were writing this twit longer, you believed that he was acting maliciously, that he knew that he was doing something inappropriate. Is that correct?
When I had asked the question, like, why are you doing this? I wasn't thinking with the whole thing of because Samantha told you to stop. I was just I didn't think about Samantha's involvement at all when I was asking him the question.
Okay.
Why
To be clear, think about my question. When you wrote this twit longer, when you were writing this twit longer, you believed that Prime was that Prime knew what he was doing was wrong.
Oh.
When you were writing the twit longer, you were writing it under the framing that you believed that what Prime was doing, he knew that it was wrong.
I would say that I would believe that he must have been partially clued in, because Samantha did not tell me exactly what they had said in the conversation. So it wasn't like Samantha said, I told Prime to leave you alone, and he didn't. Samantha just said, we spoke, and he said, she said that at the end of the conversation, he said, it's okay, like, thanks for telling me, or something along that line.
Wait, so when she was writing it, liar, dude. When she was writing it, she wasn't even fully of the, okay. This is where I'm kind of going to say it's a little bit of a scumbag move. All right? A little bit. Because before, I was under the impression that what Supreme was saying was correct, which is that she believed that Prime was informed and he was continuing to do it. And so she felt the necessary things to do that. This is why I said it should have been handled in private. She felt there was some misconduct. There wasn't enough information. Go public, you go private. Right? That makes sense. But if you don't even believe that he intended to do it, if you believed that it was an accident and you went public, it was an accident and you went public? He didn't do it intentionally and you went public? I don't know, bro. That's some scumbag left shit.
Fine. So as far, I don't know what they said. All I know is that I asked Samantha for help and she said that she did it.
Unironically, for my eyes only, it's so weird that the accused is right now looking like the best actor in amongst the whole bunch. It is really weird that there is an accusation levy and the person who was accused seems to be getting off, I would argue, with the least amount of criticism. It's fucking weird.
I don't know what they said. All I know is that I asked Samantha for help and she said that she did it. All I'm saying is that I think that when I wrote the twit longer, I knew that Prime must have been partially clued into my discomfort by then.
Okay, you believe that Prime knew about your discomfort by then?
I believe that Samantha spoke, and I really thought that whatever she would have said should have gotten the message across enough for him to stop what he was doing by that time.
Okay, so it's really helpful if you can do your best to give me like a yes or no. When you wrote this twit
I'm
longer,
really sorry.
Yeah, sorry, it's okay. When you wrote this twit longer, you believed that Prime knew that what he was doing was wrong.
On it, is it weird that I don't think it's as easy as a yes or a no, because it really.
Well, how can it not be as easy as a yes or no?
It's not because
I really don't know what Samantha said in the call, so
But what did you think she said? You don't have to know. It's about what you believed at the time you wrote.
Samantha did not give me any details as to what was said in the call.
No, specifically, were you operating under the assumption that Prime has been told multiple times that he's making you feel uncomfortable and he just keeps on doing it?
No, I was not operating under that assumption. I was operating under the assumption that I only asked Samantha for help once directly, and I'm not sure how it was framed, and it could have been framed as easy as Cat's slightly uncomfortable, maybe you should dial it back, to a Cat told me to tell you to fuck off. So I was not given any type of detail as to which one it was. So as far as I know, Prime should have at least known that I have at least spoken to somebody and asked for help, and that should have been enough for him to stop. But the extent to I don't know how much detail was given, so I can't say if it was he should know right away that, like I said, fuck off.
No, I'm not asking you to say whether he should have. I'm asking what you believed. I'm asking if you believed, if you at that point thought that he knew what he was doing was wrong.
Then I can say, if I have to go with if it's, I know for sure 100% yes, or if I don't know 100%, then I have to say, then I'll say no. Yeah, and I guess my answer is just, it seems a lot more complicated than just a yes or a no, but if I have to say yes with 100%, then I'll just say no.
What are you gonna do?
So first we're going to throw a few DMs. There's multiple people who are willing to come forward and also admit that they were present when Prime admitted to doing many of the things, and that if Kat recorded the calls, I'm screwed. That's a quote from a meeting he had yesterday. Miss you, die. Now this is blocked messages. It says that because Kat blocked Prime. But if you we click the block messages to show his messages so you can see the back and forth. Miss you, die. After I kiss you, I'll have nothing else to live for. No. Yes, question mark. Bye. Good night, gorgeous. No. So freaking cute when you do that, ... after she said no.
Supreme thinks that she was direct because there's screenshots of where he says, like, you're beautiful, and she's like, no. And he's like, I want to kiss you, and she's like, die, right? That is not how a girl rejects a guy. That's not, like, no girl who's not attracted to a guy is going to respond, like, die afterwards. Like, that's her being, that's her kind of memeing. And the memeing can mean she's trying to distract because she's uncomfortable. The memeing can mean that she's shy. The memeing can be that that's how she flirts, right? They had a dynamic, and I've seen their DMs. I've seen all their DMs, like, which felt gross, but I had to. And their dynamic was constant memeing and exaggerations.
I look at it as a sign of progress that people can make a whole ass career of hating me. You can't do that with a nobody. Very cute. I try my best for you. You, Ty, how has your day gone? Well so far? I'm working now. Took a nap then. Had some friends over. Nice, really. I'm glad you enjoyed yourself. I was pretty nice. It was pretty nice, by the way. Can you call me when you're done? She was asking me to call her to talk, just, because we talked a lot. Next. I'm guessing I'm streaming at the time, right? From when this is happening. There's no timestamps, but other than the dates. But I say you keep making me smile. Says, bitch, I see that. Looking like me in 8th grade. Get help. Lol. Awful. Even your comments are cute. I can live with this. So this is just like us. I misinterpreted this as her, having some sort of interest in me. This playful back and forth. That was my fault. That I did not see that. Apparently, she did not feel the same way. But this is how I looked at it.
Do you think that releasing screenshots of messages like die without providing the full context was irresponsible / haphazard? I think a lot of the concern given the fact that the die message was super out of context and was a lot less direct / serious. Okay, so the die message I didn't really think about that much. It was the die, no, bye, and then later like another no, and then like you're so cute when you do that, right? I think still altogether that's still her trying to brush him off, and I don't think that the full context really changes how serious that is. I mean, not how serious, what's the word? It's still her brushing him off. And for me, it was like, eventually I thought the full logs were maybe going to come out, or we're going to need to post the logs depending on how it went. We were perfectly willing to. The intent was never to do it in a way specifically to screen cap it in a way. Oh, I don't need a wake up call anymore, by the way. Gotcha. Are you awake? Shit, never mind. I completely forgot. You asked me to call. I'm up, yeah, sorry. I guess I was excited to hear your lovely voice again. Go to bed. No, you. You're beautiful and amazing at what you do, and you know it. Nice work. Also, I didn't realize that the teaching session was today at 1 p.m. I have to get to sleep, and I won't be able to make it. Call, 35 minutes. I'm awake, gorgeous. No need to call, unless you just want to hear my voice comfort and soothe you. The rest of it's just a lot of, you're cute, you're beautiful, you're gorgeous, just constantly in DMs. We would just look up keywords like that to find these. So it wasn't even we went through all of the DM history. All we had to do was just look up keywords. And so he was calling her on her phone number and was unable to reach her because she did not want to talk to him, obviously. And then at that point, he started to message me. And obviously, me knowing the situation, he was not going to get my support in any which way, and I blocked him with maybe not the most polite message in the world attached to it. Are you around? And then I posted this. Look, it's the sex pest, and then I blocked him. At this point, Nobody had talked to anybody about coming forward, but he started a Discord group so he could get ahead of the messaging. And he labeled the Discord group the Katarana War Room. I just reached out to DylanBurns. He called me a sex pest and then blocked me on Discord. Might have to go to war. And so what we're going to do is bring in somebody who was in that call and does not sympathize with Prime much, because Prime admitted to many of these things in that call. And Prime thought of a lot of strategies to try to counter Katarana's allegations, including going after her mental illness, saying that she's basically some crazy woman, that you don't need to trust her, and that she's just some raging narcissist. So are you cool with me bringing Samantha in?
Yeah, that's completely fine.
So we're going to bring in the witness to much of this right now.
When you're gonna drop what could essentially amount to like life-ending accusations on somebody, both metaphorically and streaming career and physically, and that he kills himself, I think that you should be a little bit more structured and clear about what it is that you're coming out with. If supposedly this has been ongoing for months, there's no reason to be fumbling around with your accusations or fumbling around with the evidence. Like, just be very clear, right? Did somebody tell him or not? So Stardust has a really good series of tweets, I think, about this, where we'll listen to these two clips. One sec.
First thing I want to elaborate on is what we talked about a little bit ago before we move on to this crazy call, is that Katarana did, and I just want to hear you, that she reached out to you to talk to Prime, then you, about the fact that Prime was sexually harassing her, then you talked to Prime, and then Prime did not stop his behavior and he continued.
Well, she wouldn't know if you wouldn't know if she asked him to stop.
No. Like, no, I think at one point you told me like just stuff wasn't stopping after. I think there was a time where I talked to him initially after the first thing when I said.
So let me be clear, like right off the bat, okay? Just to pull back on a macro level. So the accusation right now is that Primecayes was kind of maliciously flirting with or pushing the boundaries with an employee of his, Katarana, for months and months and months, and that she wasn't reciprocating and didn't appreciate it, but she felt pressured to continue because he was her boss. And even after being told that he needed to stop, he continued, like, moving forward with it. That is the accusation, okay? The biggest piece of evidence that would kind of like seal the deal for me when you talk about something like this is, do we have a piece of evidence that says that Primecayes was made aware of his behavior and he continued onwards anyway? Because if that happens, then that means that he's been made aware that somebody is uncomfortable and he continued pushing anyway, maliciously and like just knowingly violated somebody's boundaries, right? Deliberate violation of boundaries. Really, 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 really bad. But here's what we got.
No. Like, no, I think at one point you told me like just stuff wasn't stopping after. I think there was a time where I talked to him initially after the first thing when I said, can I talk? And I was just like, hey, I'm hearing stuff. Because he brought up that somebody told him about the NCC chat. And then it was a talk. And then you messaged me like, hey, just so you know, it's still going on. And then I tried a more like direct, maybe he didn't understand.
I don't know what maybe he didn't understand. So this whole conversation has been a big exercise. I hate to say it like this because it sounds really tippy. But maybe you can get an understanding, I guess, of like how I navigate conversations or how I survive in this world or whatever. So this whole conversation was like an exercise, and I have a lot of pieces of it. There's several things going on. I'm talking to Dylan. One is I know a lot of things that he doesn't know that I know, so I can ask him questions about things and see what he'll say, even though I know he's lying. And two, how would people react given a situation? I think, so I've said this a lot, when people are kind of misrepresenting something, usually what we'll look at is, well, what did they say, and was it true or false? But a really easy way to find out if somebody's not being 100% forthcoming is, what would they have said, right? So again, I'm trying to read into a lot of these, like, well, what would actually happen if this thing was going on, right? So hypothetically, in this scenario, like, if Katarana is getting harassed for months, and she told Samantha this, and said it was still going on, why the wishy-washy, like, well, I think I told him, well, I might have said something, well, right? that doesn't really line up with anything. It just doesn't make sense, you know? That doesn't click for me. Now, when I talk through a lot of these inferences, none of these things discreetly mean anything. It could just be that maybe it slipped her mind. It could just be that maybe she did think she had a conversation. She didn't. There's a lot of potential explanations, right? But all of it kind of like builds towards like, well, what can we infer about what happened? Because unfortunately, we don't have logs for any of this. So,
a more like,
this is another thing.
Direct. Maybe he didn't understand, normal words. So I tried to more direct, like break it down Barney style.
Wait, can you clarify? So what you're saying is you did not only talk to him once about him sexually harassing Katarana or being kind of a
the
sex
first time
pest,
I don't
but
think
twice.
I was direct in saying it was Kat. Okay, I think the first time I was just saying, hey, there's some things being said like this. Let's try to avoid acting like this or avoid anything like this from happening, especially since we've already had one instance around the channel with Kurt, right? The second time it was like, hey, Katarina's talking to me and I'm hearing some things that's kind of really fucked up, and this is not appropriate. Like, you got to fucking cut it out. And his typical response was like, oh, okay, got it. Thanks for letting me know. So I'll handle it.
And Katarana, did he stop once she said that?
No. And as I said, like, if there were any, if there was any deterrent, the deterrent was the fact that I wasn't having phone calls.
So what's been like claimed so far, in my opinion, is enough to make Prime just look like a total piece of shit. And somebody that is engaged in like pretty bad levels of harassment. You've literally been told, hey, she doesn't like this multiple times, and you're still engaging in that behavior. That's pretty not cool. Sorry, that goes past not cool. Like, you're engaging in like a form of harassment. That's just like really fucked up. Now, the problem though, is the way that Samantha characterizes this conversation is, she says, I explicitly told him, I told him directly, I stopped playing games and I was more direct about it, right? This is what Samantha says. But when we look at the logs that were actually released.
So we're going to bring in the witness to much of this right now.
Hey, what's up, Dylan?
Well, it's not the most pleasant stream in the world, but it's an important one, I guess.
Yeah. Real quick, Katarana.
Yeah.
Just you're doing the right thing. If anybody ever tells you otherwise, you just point me in their direction.
That'll probably take a couple more months for me to tell you, but
okay, it's okay. You've been doing good. You're tough as fuck. Love it. So what do you want to know? Where should I start? Fuck, where should I start?
I think the first thing I want to elaborate on is what we talked about a little bit ago before we move on to this crazy call, is that Katarana did, and I just want to hear you, that she reached out to you to talk to Prime. Then about the fact that Prime was sexually harassing her. Then you talked to Prime, and then Prime did not stop his behavior, and he continued.
Well, she wouldn't know if. She wouldn't know if she asked him to stop.
No. Like, no. I think at one point you told me like just stuff wasn't stopping after. I think there was a time where I talked to him initially, after the first thing when I said, "Can I talk?" and I was just like, "Hey, I'm hearing stuff." Because he brought up that somebody told him about the NCC chat, and then it was a talk, and then you messaged me like, hey, just so you know, it's still going on. And then I tried a more like direct. Maybe he didn't understand normal words, so I tried a more direct, like break it down Barney style.
Wait, can you clarify? So what you're saying is you did not only talk to him once about him sexually harassing Katarana or being kind of a sex pest.
The first time I don't think
twice.
I was direct in saying it was Kat. Okay, I think the first time I was just saying, hey, there's some things being said like this. Let's try to avoid acting like this or avoid anything like this from happening, especially since we've already had one instance around the channel with Kurt, right? The second time it was like, hey, Katarina's talking to me and I'm hearing some things that's kind of really fucked up. And this is not appropriate. Like, you got to fucking cut it out. And his typical response was like, oh, okay, got it. Thanks for letting me know. So I'll handle it.
And Katarana, did he stop once she said that?
No. And as I said, like, if there were any if there was any deterrent, the deterrent was the fact that I wasn't having phone calls anymore. Honestly, one of the things that like really helped me no longer have to continue being in these conversations all the time was the fact that like you reached out to me and said, hey, do you want to like have a phone call? So then from then on, I no longer was even having calls with Prime anymore. It was just you and I that would do homework at night rather than him who would bother me the whole time while I was trying to do my work.
Okay. So Samantha, I would like to hear a little bit about the phone call you had with others, where Prime was apparently panicking after the block happened and after Kat told him that, you know, I don't like being sexually harassed, and he made this war room.
For this war room stuff, I just want to be clear. This was the message that I got from Primecayes. I'm just reading this word for word. Hey, Steven. Well, I'm embroiled in another drama. My producer, Katarana, is accusing me of harassment and abuse. This is absolutely fucking false. I don't know why she's doing this, but I can't have this destroying my channel. I have extensive DMs with this woman. If you'd like to take a look, I'll show you everything. The reason I'm reaching out to you is because of DylanBurns. Dylan and Kat have grown close recently. Apparently, she's staying at his house, and they become best friends. I don't know who to trust, but I'm trying to operate off the assumption that Dylan is good faith. In that case, Katarana has apparently been feeding him lies. I reached out to him. He called me a sex pest, then blocked me on Discord. If Dylan can be reached, I'd like to set up a discussion so that we can hash this out. I'd show him my DMs as well. I was wondering if you could be a neutral third party to get together with us and get to the bottom of this. I believe you're on vacation, so if you can't, I understand. Thanks for listening. That was the message that Prime sent me, and that was like, I think that was like 12 hours before everything like blew up, basically. He sent me that, and then like I think like 10 hours later, Dylan went live, basically.
Well, I just want to finish up the worm thing because I think it's being totally misrepresented by Samantha, and also a bit by Dylan, to be honest with you, because I know Dylan has seen the entire thing.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'd said was, I don't like Dylan, but he seems like a good dude, and I don't think he'd want to be involved in outright slander.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So,
which, to be clear, also, I would agree with that. I think that Dylan has been like a little business-minded in the background, but I don't think he would ever do this. I don't think that Dylan would like, I'm going to make up an allegation or go with a made-up allegation or fuck somebody. I don't have that impression of Dylan. I don't think he would ever do that. But go ahead.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like I said, I don't like Dylan. He and I have our problems, but he doesn't seem like that kind of person.
Mm-hmm.
So I told him he needed to reach out to you. He agreed. Samantha immediately was just like memeing in the chat and saying that he should bring on Lauren Southern. Eventually saying that she's extremely uncomfortable with him asking to release the names of people that have stated that they're victims or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So then we have a little conversation like, how is he supposed to apologize or show you that or show people that nothing happened if he doesn't know like who's complaining?
Mm-hmm.
And we just had like a little back and forth. And eventually ends with Prem just saying, hey, yeah, I put you in a situation you don't want to be in. I'm sorry for adding you to this. If you can still talk to Kat for me, I'd be appreciative. If not, that's okay. I'll figure this out. If this discussion makes you uncomfortable, please exit the group cam. Right? And that was, and then Samantha says, okay, but Dylan and I are dating now. Like after that, like there's no let's smear Katarana plotting in there at all. I'll show anybody who wants to see the entire group cam. There's none of that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been totally misrepresented by Samantha.
Mm-hmm.
So later, so I still tell Prime, hey, you should reach out to Destiny, be totally transparent, show him everything, be ready to show everybody who wants to see anything, at all of your fucking DMs, because they're gonna get out there anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and in addition, she says that after I don't know why she lied about this, but just it's like I think if she's gonna lie about the small things, she's probably gonna lie about the big things, because she says on Dylan's stream, and I clipped this, and I think I sent it to you, that that Prime brought it up. That Prime brought up what Katarana was saying in NCC's chat, as if he's like, you know, spying on her or some shit.
Yeah.
But actually, if you see the DMs, it's Samantha brought it up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so she's just being totally dishonest in this entire situation.
Yeah.
Now, I asked her, okay, well, she says that she spoke to you again after this. Right? She says she had a second conversation with you. Is there any evidence of that in your DMs anywhere? And it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So the first conversation they had, that I was made aware of, and Dylan knows about, looks nothing like what we're being told it was.
Mm-hmm.
And the second conversation, there's zero evidence of it.
Yeah. And Samantha claimed earlier on Twitter that to be 100% honest, we handled a lot of things in private voice chat on the server, and I told Kat that I have no proof of anything, and she still wanted to go forward, and I promised I would go with her when the time came. Now this contradicts what Dylan said when Dylan was on stream saying, well, Samantha has proof, hold on, I'll go ask her. So I don't know who we believe there, but yeah.
Samantha, what I really respect about Samantha is that when she realized she fucked up, I think when it all came together, she admitted to it, and she did this huge apology, wrote how sorry she was, and I admire the fuck out of that. I do. Because there were a lot of people who are upset, and she's getting like death threats and tons of hate. That's why, please, God, lay off of You're like, if you're one of the people sending that stuff, I understand why you're angry, but she's a real person. And yeah, so she was dealing with a lot, and coming out with that huge apology, I think that, you know.
And he made this war room so he could get ahead of the curve and not get quote unquote me too'd, I believe was one of the quotes.
I literally just messaged him to ask about somebody being banned from the chat. Why? And he said, like, it doesn't matter. Basically, that's irrelevant. But fuck that. We have a full-blown emergency happening. Something is going on with Kat, and I think it's going to be a huge fucking problem. Well, I just want to screenshot this real quick before I forget. Something's going on with Kat. I think it's going to be a huge fucking problem. I said, how bad? He said, real fucking bad. If you know me, I asked him, is anything my fault? He said, Kat just quit on me, but not before saying that I abused her. Then she offended me and blocked me on Discord.
Quickly, Kat, did you ever allege that he abused you, or was it just sexually harassment?
We can pull it up. Wait, yeah.
We do have the DM.
But I never said the word abused.
You never said the word abused.
No, I didn't.
He actually left the stream for a while, and I ended up moderating his panel.
Wait, so this was happening live on his show. During that time where he was walking away during Prime, he was calling Katarana, trying to get a hold of her. And we checked the voice message. It was something along the lines of like, what abuse, don't know what you're talking about, what abuse. It was something along those lines. Can you now talk about what happened once the phone call actually occurred after that?
Yeah, so he started going on about different things about like, oh, basically spilling it out. Oh, Katarana is accusing me of this. We need to get in front of it. And what do we do? Kind of like freaking out a bit. Main points were, and there's a lot of them, that Kat was a plant after Kurt. Okay.
A plant. What is that? Like she was a spy?
Like a spy or a trap. Like she was a succubus there to like freaking like force him to do this so that he could be called out on it later or something. Like, I have no idea. He thought she was a plant. He said he kept trying to push Kat away due to fear of her being like a plant. And then he said he was interested in her and told her that, which obviously that's been made very clear at this point. He said he told her that if he said anything that makes her uncomfortable, to let him know.
Is that true?
There were a couple of times where like I would make a face and he's like, am I making you uncomfortable? And I was just like, can we go back to what we were working on? But also it's not very wise to ask somebody that generally has communication issues to voice things via communication.
No, like Prime had no understanding that this was happening, and like he showed us evidence that he asked you directly. Or I'm sorry, I'm not sure he did show us that evidence. I'm not sure he did. It's his testimony.
I think there was the screenshot about him about us talking about dating and me saying, just being like, I'm not straight. I'm busy. Like that's. I think I didn't put those screenshots for it because. I didn't even remember that those were there, and he was the one that released that part. But
okay, continue.
Literally said there was long calls for like 10 to 11 hours, but there's nothing in DMs that can be used against him. Like he'll leak the whole chat logs.
Well, we already leaked many of them that did not make him look good. And why was he particularly scared about the phone calls? Could you tell me about any quotes he said about that?
Well, let me see how far that one down's the list. Because basically, like, yeah, if she had the phone or if she recorded the video calls or whatever, he'd be screwed. And then he tried to clarify it because she would twist things.
So he said that if Katarana had video recordings of the calls that they had, and he admitted this into a room of multiple people,
he'd be screwed.
That he would be screwed. Why do you think that was, Samantha?
I don't know. And that's what kind of started pissing me off. Well, I mean, I've been pissed off since this was brought up to me by Kat. And Kat can verify me and Prime get into a lot of fights. I'm not very charitable with him. Don't really like him. He just pisses me the fuck off and then doesn't pay me. So I don't even know why I kept working for him. Anyway, said that he always thought she was suspect.
Did he clarify what he meant by she was suspect?
He didn't really clarify. Like I said, this was all in order, and I was typing them as fast as I could.
Was this like a yelly rant type thing?
Kind of more like a freak out, hyperventilating rant, and then like a lot of, like just constant.
Also, how could someone plant somebody there to go get sexually harassed? Like if you're not doing anything, then the plant is not very successful. No.
Right. Well, no. This was Operation Woman Existing. Operation Woman exists.
I don't know, but I'm pretty sure I'll be blamed for this later on too. Banana Clan's just taking everybody down. Fuck.
Well, what's next on the list?
That he didn't harass her to be a part of anything, but that she begged to be a producer, be involved.
I didn't beg to be a producer. I just generally started working. I helped work on the neurodivergent panel, but there was no form of begging. I just generally like to work for people. But even if that were the case, I begged him to work. It's not begging to be harassed. It's just, can I please do some work? The work doesn't necessarily precipitate, and with the side of holy shit, nice tits, toots.
He reiterated that you won't find anything in DMs, he'll leak the whole log. At one point, he's like, well, now she's at Dylan's and she didn't even tell me and she's still interacting with me. And that one really, really upset me.
Why?
Because it made me, it came across like he felt like he had ownership or like she was his. And the way he said it was just so it made me really uncomfortable, made me just really it was fucking gross.
Well, the whole thing when I first came here and I told Dylan, I was like, oh, I want to stream when I'm at your house, but I don't know if I can because if Prime finds out that I'm here, I don't know if I'll get in trouble or something.
That did happen, yes.
Yeah. So there's a couple times, remember I asked you, I was like, is it possible to turn your desk around so that I have a different view than yours? Because if Prime sees that I'm here, he might say that I need to meet up with him because he lives within the general northeastern region. He might just be upset that how dare you visit someone that's close by me and not see me? Because every time I would ever say that, oh, I would like to see my brother because my brother lives nearby. He's like, well, when you see your brother, make sure you see me too. And yeah.
He said that she was never antagonistic and still went on to produce for her, even though she was having these feelings or felt like she was being harassed in any way.
That's just called power dynamics. What am I going to say? Hi, person that is the only one that lets me on panels, fuck off.
And pays you.
And pays me, yeah.
In the DM that he showed on the stream yesterday with Silly Serious or Joe, he tells Joe this. It seems like she's pulling away, and he's letting go of it.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and I think that DM is at the end of April too.
Okay, yeah.
So
we're commiserating about our private lives. Friend is not only, and so my friend I'm talking about is Katarana. I didn't reveal to Joe that it was Katarana I was talking about, but this is who I'm referring to. This is during April. Look at the timestamp. This is April, where we're having end of April. We're having this conversation. So this is part of the evolution, right? I'm gonna turn on the webcam just for a second. Where the fuck is this webcam? This is part of the evolution of our. This is part of the evolution of our relationship. So it started before. It was extremely flirty, right? On my end, extremely flirty. But then, I was saying that the relationship seemed to have changed, right? So this kind of shows that evolution, right? So I'm just trying to give you a complete context. I'm going to take off the webcam. All right. Anyway, my friend is not only living in another country, but is now going to be moving farther away to another continent. So Katarana was considering moving to Europe. She is crazy obsessed with work, which I love about her. She is extremely ambitious, but she focuses on work to the detriment of everything else. It's not a matter of communication. In fact, we've talked for hours and hours after stream, spending 12 hours with each other occasionally. I forget this is 12 hours in one day that I was thinking of, but as you saw, we spent a lot of time talking. And just on voice and off voice. She has a whole list of issues, but the big looming problem is that intimacy is low on her priority list. She literally has trouble understanding other people's emotions, but apparently isn't officially autistic. Close to it though. This manifests in a number of different ways, and each of them will make a relationship with her very difficult. Holy shit, my friend Joe says. Yep, that's a lot. It's hard. Because it's just who she is, you know? How can you even call her out on it? Does she feel the same about you? Okay. Says Joe. She also has trouble processing and feeling her own emotions. She goes to a therapist to help her interpret all of this. Despite spending a ridiculous amount of time with me and sharing a lot of personal stories, she's still not sure how she feels about me. Wow, okay, that's frustrating for you. It gets worse. I like to meet her at least once and see where it goes, but I'm unsure if it's even worth the effort at this point. But I do really like her. We've avoided calling what we have a romantic relationship. I was in the wrong here. I thought that maybe it might become a romantic relationship. I was in the wrong here. Especially since she doesn't yet know if she officially even likes me. Since I learned all these issues, I've stepped back and reevaluated my expectations. So, I'm not putting my heart on the line. I just look at this as friendship for now. Again, if I made her feel uncomfortable, it's my fault. I'm not blaming anyone else. But this is my process of thinking. I felt like this is a thing that we could actually make work to talk.
I asked him, okay, can you like search, like show me your DMs, and is there like any flirty shit after she starts pulling away? And I didn't see any. Yeah, there's DMs where he's asking if he can talk to her, if they can hang out, saying, hey, we haven't hung out in a long time. Seems like we're always missing each other. And I miss hanging out, shit like that. But there's no like, you know, you're gorgeous, suck my dick, and shit like
anything,
yeah. And he didn't start paying her until like the end of June.
I heard that.
And so, like, I don't know, the idea that he was like holding the payment over her for months while he was like sexually harassing her.
Also, when the payment was only $250 each month, that's hard to believe. Yeah.
It was inappropriate for me to be talking to her, to be flirting with her like that. But as I said, our relationship like ended quite a while ago, right? As far as I can tell, like like even before mid-June, like in May, I want to say. But yeah, our flirtatious relationship kind of ended. At least I ended flirting. Again, she doesn't feel the same way about how the relationship's going, but yeah. So this is my payments towards her. These are my payments. So there are only two payments. Two. As you can see, I'll even blow it up a bit. This is a payment on June 27th to Katarana, and for 294 Canadian dollars, and in August another one to $250. So those are only two payments. As you can see, I did a whole thing like ever since February. This is where I searched. There were other payments here, but none of them were to Katarana. If she has proof that there's other payments, then she can show them. But these are when she was working for me, like only just recently. So only two payments that were received. The June payment was for July work.
And the second payment was like the 2nd of August. So she got two payments of $250 starting at the end of June and early August. But all the stuff happened before, like that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I thought, going back to the situation, I thought the whole thing was handled. Particularly when I found out that Katarana had started working for Prime. I thought, wow, she's working for Prime. Like, I was like, what's the deal there? That's so weird, right? Because she's made these allegations. Why is she working for the guy? Like, she could go work for, like, she seemed already pretty well connected and had a good reputation. She was growing pretty fast. Like, I felt like she could work for a bunch of people. I didn't know why she picked Prime. But I figured they had a good dynamic. They'd solved things. They'd worked it out between them. And that was that. But we always thought it was weird that she was working for Prime, right? After this, because this is and this is something that a lot of people have misunderstood. Like, she starts working for Prime way after the bad stuff happens, right? Like, where like they have those awkward conversations and stuff. And that's something that I don't know. A lot of people, that's why I think while Dylan was technically right in calling her staff, I feel like it was a little disingenuous.
And pays you.
And pays me, yeah. Like, yeah, I'm just, yeah, sure, I'll lose a source of income when I don't have a job right now, okay.
He said that he admitted to having sexual conversations during calls.
So he admitted that he did have sexual conversations.
Now, yes. And now I want to clarify. I followed this up with a question. I said, was it one-sided? Were they reciprocated? Okay. Like I was trying to get like, you know, a general idea of what was going on as well too. Cause I mean, I'm not, obviously I wasn't in the video calls. I just had what Katarana said. I was trying to see what he would say. I asked if it was one-sided and he said, well, like she would respond with, I need to go talk to my therapist to see how I feel.
Like one of the lines that she used, I shouldn't call it a line, but one of the things that she said was that she has a really hard time because he asked her, do you feel the same way about me? And she says, I have a really hard time. This is according to him, just when this might be hearsay. So she says, I have a hard time like understanding my emotions because of my like autism. And so it's like, I usually have to, especially with this stuff, I usually have to work through with a therapist.
And so that was his response to that.
So what he's saying is, well, she never reciprocated my sexual advances, but she did once say that she needed to talk to a therapist. And that just, okay.
Yeah. After that, he said he's trying to be honest with us, to the other people on the call, which they don't need to be named. They don't want to be named. Said that he told her he'd love to be together with Kat. Which we've covered. He said he feels like
go to
this.
Europe for her. Yeah.
Yeah. I dropped a line in that Katarana war room that kind of irked him, but I'll touch that later. He said this was another one. Said it feels like a setup, like someone got into her ear and told her that it's abuse.
Does he have suspicions?
Then he started freaking out, saying he regrets everything, his whole fucking platform. And then started going down like, I was afraid something like this would happen.
But things like this don't happen if you don't do anything.
Well, we know that, Kat.
Okay. And because if I came forward and said somebody bothered me and he's like, literally look at these messages and it's just us producing panels and that was it, then there's nothing to happen. It only happens when you send messages saying asking girls what's your cup size and I want to kiss you while you have oral anesthetic in your mouth.
His excuse was, but I've never flirted with, and then he proceeds to name like every trans woman in the Twitch politics sphere. And then the one person who does nothing but talk about their husband. And so that kind of fucking irked me that like, congrats.
So his
he's
argument,
not into trans women.
His argument was basically like, how could I have sexually harassed this woman? I didn't sexually harass other women. So like if, hey, look,
happen to all be trans
I couldn't
women.
have killed Billy. I didn't kill Jonathan or Steve. Brilliant.
It is probably kind of weird that he would name off. I didn't sexually harass all the trans women I let on here. That's a really weird distinction to make. And then, and Maddie, the one that went to Minnesota the other day to choose her wedding venue.
Getting to like a more like he's over it thing where he said, if I have to have a chaperone to do this, I don't want to do this anymore. And it's like, why do you need a babysitter to not be a fucking creep?
Okay, well, his parents should put him on a leash, maybe. I don't know. Like one of
Just
those
not a
child
pride.
leashes, you know
Just
what I'm
not a
talking
pride.
about?
Okay, just not a pride.
It's not a pride, correct?
No. I'm sorry. I cope with like negative things with humor, so I apologize if that's bad timing. Then it went into blaming Kat's NPD or blaming Kat's mental illness.
One thing that was said on Dylan's thing that really pissed me off was that Prime planned to use Katarana's NPD against her, because Katarana has said on streams that she has NPD.
Mm-hmm.
It's like narcissistic personality disorder.
Mm-hmm.
Prime never said that. That came from somebody else. And Prime's reaction to that was, I don't know anything about that. You know, he just dismissed it, didn't want to talk about that. I can send you screenshots of that entire chat. There is nothing like that in there.
Then it went into or blaming Kat's mental illness because they always lie.
Which, if anybody ever listened to me on my NPD panel, they would know that my form of NPD is really just I'm scared everyone thinks I'm stupid. That's the whole thing, and I'm consistently wanting to prove to people that I'm very competent via being in charge of everything and just like, oh, okay, look, I can be Wonder Woman. Does that mean that you guys will see me as a legitimate and like serious person? That's my NPD. My NPD isn't I stare in a mirror all the time and try to like manipulate people into falling in love with me. So, I mean, it's kind of weird considering I made a neurodivergent panel for the person to particularly be like, well, the first time I ever heard she had NPD was on my own platform when she was talking about the stigma of NPD. So let me use her NPD.
So he tried to use mental illness as a way to delegitimize.
He wants to cancel Amazon Lily because it's too much trouble.
So he did cancel his Amazon Lily panel today, which if anybody doesn't know what Amazon Lily is one of his daily panels, which is primarily is an all-women panel where he brings women on to talk women's issues. And so he made the conclusion that probably in the midst of a possible sexual harassment scandal, maybe he should not have an Amazon Lily panel up. I've also been told by people on that they personally canceled because they saw this and did not want to associate with him anymore. I can also tell you that one of his old bookers, is Spectre, who used to book for him and help him. I believe he used to book for him, right?
Yes, he booked for him for several months.
Yes, let me read a quote from Spectre quickly about the issue, who, again, used to work and book for the man. Glad it's finally out. I've lost sleep thinking about the female streamers I've helped bring into this community. Godspeed. And he said I could quote him on that.
And yeah, the only reason why he didn't say anything about my situation is because I asked Samantha not to. And to be frank, this is why I stopped producing for him.
Okay.
And this is why Spectre quit as well.
Got it. This is why he quit. He quit because Prime had issues like this.
Yes. I'm known to be a little bit more thick-skinned, a little bit able to wade through the bullshit. And since Prime does a lot of our stuff in shared DMs, I wasn't gonna leave Kat by herself. I thought that was fucked up. And Kat's known that me, Spectre, and Kat have all talked about quitting at the same time. And we've all talked about our issues with Prime, and I was the one that said I will stick around. And I would follow Kat's lead and do as she wanted because it involved her.
Also, I want to bring up something somebody brought up in chat that when you started streaming, Prime was all over you, quote unquote. Would he also have certain shenanigans while on stream, like in front of people?
Yeah, so whenever I was on the Primetime Royale, he would make a note that make sure you keep your voting, keep not kick. So keep for whoever you thought was the most intelligent, whoever you thought was the most gorgeous, whoever was the funniest. He would never put make sure you keep whoever you thought was the most attractive adjective unless I was on the Royale.
And for somebody who's looked through the DMs, gorgeous is a word he would use a lot for you. I mean, I looked up gorgeous and it took me like a minute to scroll through all the stuff. He called you gorgeous a lot in DMs.
And other types of things, yeah.
Okay. Anything else from the meeting of note, Samantha?
God, let me pull. I just left that chat. Yeah, no. And then the war room came up, and I'll be posting, or I'll send you the rest of the war room chat. Just so people know. I thought that was fucking disgusting.
What was
when
disgusting?
that came up? The fact that he made some super secret war room, Katarana war room, like he had to go to war with someone who felt victimized. And I thought that was vile, and I made it well known. Yes, I opened it up,
and he did say he wanted to talk about her mental health. So his intention was to drag her credibility through the mud.
I can send you screenshots of that entire chat. It's literally me telling Prime, hey, you should reach out to you need to talk to Dylan. You should reach out to Destiny to have a media because Dylan trusts Destiny. Mm-hmm. And I think Destiny would be fair if you showed him all your screenshots, showed him everything.
Yeah, and at the same time, like he wanted me to like go against you, and I think it's unfair to make me choose sides against two people that I had worked for, one of whom I respect, the other whom is a fucking sex pest. I think that's crap. And I think the fact that he would make something like this to go to war with somebody who felt victimized is disgusting and abhorrent behavior. And none of this was professional. None of the way he interacted with people is professional. None of the way he interacted with his mods was professional. And to do this to somebody who was helping out, and even though like the obvious social cues, if people are being like that and not wanting to interact, and the fact that he couldn't pick up on that is harmful. And like, I don't know. Okay, I know other people that I've heard stuff too. I don't have proof.
Can we get clarity on this 12-person thing? Is there proof of this, or is there?
There's no proof. It doesn't exist. There's no. We've asked for it. There's no proof that we've seen.
Okay, but who made the claim about the 12-person? Can you just clarify?
Yeah. So initially, it was Samantha that said that she'd when they were doing the investigation on Prime a while back, she said that there were she was aware of 12 people who had been made uncomfortable by Prime.
Okay.
Now, Prime has asked for this. We've asked for this, and it hasn't materialized. These people haven't come forward. At this point, I don't think there's any reason to believe it exists.
Okay, I know other people that I've heard stuff too. I don't have proof, but I've heard stuff from other people, and I've let him know that. And he wanted me to do something, tell me their names, and it's not my place to out other victims. And the thing is, this is a recurring problem. And it's not. And by that thing with Kat, where I was like, for the love of God, tell me it's not Prime, I already fucking knew.
We'll read it. He tweeted this out. As many are aware, my former producer, Katarana, has made accusations against me. When I first heard of these accusations, my initial response was to go on defense. However, upon reflecting more on her words, I realized that we had a very different experience of our relationship. Do you need a moment to think about that, or do you have anything to say, or do you want?
Clearly. I mean, I don't know if the only reason why the tune's been changed is because we happen to have extra information, because, yeah, the first thing was to go on defense. And, I mean, in all of the servers that he posted in, he said, well, she's lying and this isn't true. There's the one that, the screenshot that you have that basically just says that, like, these accusations are false. So, I mean, if it takes having to come onto Twitch with, 3.1k people plus Samantha literally being there to say, LOL, literally, what are you talking about? You admitted that these aren't true, for him to just say, we have a different experience of our relationship. Weird.
Let me just go back over here for a second, because I want to make a point. Literally not even 24 hours ago, 12 hours ago, Katarana War Room starts it once he hears that the person he was sexually harassing blocked him and said, I didn't enjoy being sexually harassed. And then he DMs me because I'm not close to her. And I say, screw all. And I send him, of course, what was the message? This message. Look, it's the sex pest, and blocked him. And so his reaction to hearing like, wow, it seems that somebody thinks I sexually harassed them, was not to be like, I'm sorry. I believe he never apologized in the voicemail. He never said sorry or anything of that. It was to start the Katarana War Room and say, I just reached out to DylanBurns. He called me a sex pest and blocked me on Discord. Might have to go to war. 12 hours later, when he was making schemes to use her mental health against her to attack her credibility, once this was shown to the public, because I assume he was never going to talk about the Katarana War Room publicly, 12 hours later, ooh, oopsie doopsie. 12 hours. I personally, while of course anything's possible and I believe in rehabilitative justice, it's hard for me to believe that there was this much of a change of heart in 12 hours after he started a war room and had to go to war with the person he was sexually harassing. I find that very hard to believe. I don't think I'm that gullible. And I also want to bring up an old clip I think somebody sent me of.
And make sure she has a spot to say something.
Hi. Yeah, so I kind of jumped in when we were talking about women being treated differently in these spaces and things.
Oh, snap, I was there. Huh, okay.
like that. And I also wanted to touch on the idea that you don't have any control over the people in your community or something, or like vaguely something like that. But I used to run the Amazon Lily panels, right? And when I would restream them, I had someone who has been invited into the community, so it's not just like a viewer, come into my DMs and tell me that if I wanted more views, then I should make my cam bigger than everyone else's and I should play into my sexuality on stream. And when I was like, oh, please don't say that to me, that makes me uncomfortable, they were like, oh, but I heard you call yourself cute on stream. You were like, I'm cute, so I assumed that means you're okay with playing into your sexuality on stream. And I was like, this isn't okay. And I have brought it up before. And I was kind of just told, well, that's a person in this community, so.
To clarify, who she's talking about is Kurt, who is a person who used to manage for Prime. So this isn't the first scandal that Prime has had around this issue before. Let's let the clip finish. See what if Prime comments at all on this.
I don't know what you want me to do about it. So it does really feel like misogyny is not really taken super seriously. And this person, I've also had another female streamer come forward and say that the same person has come to them and asked them what their porn preferences were, because that was somehow adjacently related to one of the topics on the panel. And they were just like, oh, while I'm here, let's talk about you. And it was real, and it just feels like I've been talking about this person with some of the other women in this community, and there's more stories coming up that's been like, oh yeah, no, he's talked to me really disrespectfully. I'm heating up and getting really anxious right now. Can someone else please say something?
I would also like to bring up the fact that Prime has said multiple times that he misses Kurt, the person that they're talking about in this interaction, and that Kurt used to run things so well. Apparently, Prime really agreed with his way of doing things. I guess more than many people thought. At this point, there's not much more to say on the issue. Other than, of course, there's a few people who are being idiotic. Destiny DM'd me, he wants on. Why would I bring Destiny on to talk about this? I don't know if he's really, unless you want me to bring him on.
Why? What is Destiny gonna add? Did something happen to him too? Otherwise, I don't see the point.
You regret bringing Destiny on? Honestly, I will admit, obviously my life would be a lot easier if I didn't bring Destiny on. Because realistically, if I didn't debate Destiny, he's on vacation for possibly 2 to 3 more weeks. By the time he would come back, there's not much he could have done. It would have made my life a lot easier, obviously. But it also would have made Prime's life a lot worse. And the fact that it should have been done in private and stuff like that probably would not have been so contentious. So if it was just a self-interested kind of selfish way, then my answer would be, I wish I didn't. But if I'm thinking about this seriously as a rational human being, then I think I should have brought him on for that reasoning.
I feel like I was just watching something awful happening. Awful. It was, and then suddenly Destiny hops in, of all people. And Destiny just starts doing, you know when you when you see a leather worker, like a leather worker, and he's making a leather purse or something, and he's working with his craft, and you're just looking at the person working with leather, and you're like, wow, I know this is why you do what you do, you're a craftsman. That's how I felt watching that. I was like, holy shit, this is why Destiny's got, this is why Destiny's a famous streamer, right? This is why he's created this whole world. This is him at his best, you know? Oh my God. I just couldn't believe he was reversing this situation he was bringing up. It was pretty clear. I don't think it was necessarily that she was leading him on. I don't think, none of us will ever know that, right? And I think it's douchey to just assume. But I think it's very clear that their dynamic was intimate. And I think that that's what Destiny really demonstrated, that it was at least intimate enough that you wouldn't be putting like workplace rules on there. You know, like they were intimate, whether it was platonically or romantically, like it was an intimate dynamic way before any work relationship. And so you shouldn't be like thinking of it like a work thing. Do you think you would make this stream if Destiny didn't swing the popular opinion? Euclid, that's a good question. I don't know. And I don't know if he I definitely think he swung some popular opinion, but there's a huge portion of my audience that's probably really mad at me right now. I'm sure of it. I tend to collect softies, you know? I like them softies. So, because I'm a softie. So, and I think a lot of those people just automatically connected to Katarana and her story, and they vilified Prime because they have been victimized by people like, they kind of put all the real predators in their past. And they may probably put that all on Prime. And they probably see me as like, maybe they see what I'm doing as like kind of both sidesing a predator or something. When I'm really just trying to do something that I feel like I can sleep with at night. Because coming out and just automatically being like, yeah, I'm not associating with Prime, and just throwing him under the bus like everyone did yesterday, before, like on Twitter and on Twitch, like everyone was throwing him under the bus before Destiny. And that's why, and I just backed off because that felt sick to me. It felt gross.
I'm sorry, Prime, for how hard I came at you, that I lended my weight and my credence to your, if you want to call it, cancellation. There was a critical component of information missing.
I'm gonna say it 100%. As the situation was unfolding, I was sitting there and I was scared, and I was just like, dang, bro, this don't even seem like it's accurate. I don't think this is true. It looked fake. She was smiling throughout the entire thing, and I saw such a difference in character, and I saw how quickly they were looking, like the things that they were posting and how like non-evidence it was. And I'm just like, yo, this looks like this is really bad. This is disgusting. I was talking to my boy, I don't know if he gonna mind me saying it. I was talking to my boy Disco Vando, and we were sitting there listening to the call, and we were both like, yo, this makes me mad. This seems stupid. And then we were sitting there, and I'm like, bro, I can't even say nothing. I'm just gonna chill. Like, I don't even know what to say. I was like nervous. I started thinking like, no, I'm gonna take down notes, bro. I'm probably gonna say something. I'm gonna lose my platform. Then that nigga Destiny spoke up, and I was like, yo, this is my hero. I'm serious, bro. Like in that moment, it was just like, he's gonna take a bunch of heat, but I don't care, nigga. I'm gonna say it too. I feel like if Destiny didn't speak up, there's literally 95% of you idiots would have sat there and just taken that and been like, nah, that's it. Nah, that's it. It'd have been fine if nobody said nothing about it. But if he didn't speak up, no one else would have. I'm serious. Or the few people that would have, it have been like, good, let's go ahead and toss some niggas in. Those are pews for the fire.
If he had not done that, people would not have listened to my message. When there was a streamer, another streamer, who was making accusations against me, serious accusations against me, and they have a platform that is 10 times my size. I think I'm a big streamer. I'm not a big streamer. But people, I'm not a big streamer. I don't know where people got that from. I'm not. But there's another streamer is making accusations against me, 10 times my size, right? And then I go on of my channel, which is an order of magnitude smaller. How does my message get out? Most people would not hear it, and most people would not care to find it, and simply draw conclusions. If it wasn't for Destiny, I don't know. Thank you, Destiny.
Why? What is Destiny gonna add? Like, did something happen to him too? Otherwise, I don't see the point.
Did you ever tell him straight out, no, to stop this? I don't want this?
I'm always worried about hurting people's feelings, and like, honestly, going and doing this is a bit people asking me these kind of questions is a bit harmful in itself, just because in general, like I've had sexual harassment issues so many times over the course of university. So when you say things like this, it just sounds like me being in the rights and responsibilities office of my university all over again, and them asking me this. And at the end of the day, even if I don't say the word directly, I got my restraining orders against students because I have enough evidence to show that even if I didn't say directly fuck off, that like the way that I'm giving off all the other signs should be good enough. So for example, love you, die, it's cute when you say that, no, should be enough. And if I have to say the words directly, I'm sorry, it's just not something I really feel comfortable with, because it's always more important to me that I make other people feel good than I make myself feel good. And I know that's bad, but honestly, that's something I'll work through therapy. And this is not going to be the way that I figure out that I need to take care of myself.
Like, this is like, they're pretty in conclusion about like what's going on here and like how much evidence is stacked up. So I don't know. This doesn't feel like a oh boy, like this is I didn't expect him to be the next Cuomo, but I mean, congratulations. I don't believe Prime is Italian, so I don't think he can use that excuse. Refugee program for Prime's community. Yeah, I gotta say, Prime actually collapsed faster than the Afghanistan government. So if there's any refugee program we need on top of taking Afghan refugees, it's taking Prime community refugees. So we will start a program and welcome any of them into either Cat or my community, 100%.
I think that was also a really major thing that made me really hesitant to say anything, because what I was saying to Dylan yesterday is like, what do I do now? What are we going to do? Like, there's no longer any platform for people that are smaller to go and come on to if they want to start doing political, like, conversations, because what is there? There's Hans. You already need to be established to get onto Hans. You have to be large to get onto yours. Like, what's going to happen now? But I guess one of the things that Dylan said to me to help me not feel as nervous about it was, is it better that they have nowhere to go, or they have somewhere to go, but there's a chance they'll go and get harassed when they go on? So
bring Destiny on. He's saying my shit is all made up. Then honestly, you can fuck off. I don't care. But I kind of doubt it. Is he like streaming it right now? Is he really? I mean, it's so overwhelming.
And I actually thought yesterday when Dylan did his stream, I thought Prime was canceled. Like, I thought it was done. And my heart was telling me, with all the information that I knew, and I talked about this with another streamer, but like my heart was telling me like he was not guilty.
Probably seems really cringe or whatever, but I was really worried when this initially came out that it was going to be like the train. Everybody's latching on because they want to be allies and yada yada, right? So they're going to say, oh, they're going to be like Katarana, not even listen to Prime, not even give his side any credence or whatever, and you know his career is over. So I really appreciate you like giving him a fair shake.
I mean, it's so overwhelming. He's not streaming or tweeting. Okay, then it's just. Oh, there was one question that was legitimate. Was it all online?
Oh yeah, we never met in person or anything, but I guess not really due to any, like, the whole thing, what I said was that I didn't want him to even know I was in this area, because I thought that he would almost like try to coerce me into meeting with him IRL, but all of it was online.
I already talked to Vosh about it. Destiny's probably going to talk about it eventually. I mean, the thing is, right, you can have whatever little like theory about it as you want. It's whatever. I mean, he can have his assumptions or not, but I mean, he would need proof, right? So this whole thing of me would just reek of Destiny not having enough brain cells, right? Surely this means you're no longer associated with Vosh now, right? Due to history of Irish laddie? Yeah, Vosh has some pretty fucking yikesy fucking history when it comes to sexual harassment. Unironically, if Prime like just does a full like, hey, I'm sorry, da-da-da-da-da, and he goes through the whole thing, I believe in people being reformative. He can, like, I don't care. Like, maybe then I'd associate with him. I've only ever seen Destiny turn on people after logs condemn them. Yeah, I guess, I mean, like, if Destiny doesn't believe testimony from multiple people, right, then that's just on Destiny then, right? Then I mean, like, anybody can do anything in calls and just be like, well, there's no footage of the calls because people don't record calls, so fuck them. Bosch Prama had Drufto, where are your receipts? Well, the difference is, when it comes to sexual harassment, right? There are receipts that he was talking to her in a very inappropriate manner. Gorgeous. If I kiss you, right? Then I could just die. There's stuff like that, right? That's already out there. But you can't take a screenshot of him saying something in a voice call. He doesn't want to bring me on because he knows the whole thing is BS. Dude, what the... You know what? Fuck it, I'll do it.
Dylan.
Hello.
How are we doing today?
Things could be better.
When I'm asking questions.
All right. Well, I've heard that I'm being told that you heard almost everything, so I won't repeat. Hopefully, you got all the important parts. Like, don't attack Katarana. That's a very important part. If you didn't hear anything else, hear that part. Don't do that. Thank you. All right. So, Katarana came to my channel, a very weird moment in time for me. We're honestly having another controversy. A big controversy. Katarana and I thought that we hit it off actually really well. I thought that we had a lot in common, because we did have a lot in common. Plenty in common. And we became close. At that point, I actually really wasn't very trusting of individuals. But spent a lot of time talking to Katarana. And, you know, my the wall that I was putting dissipated. And